hope it wasn't too cringy.
No, it was pretty cool. Hey
Okay.
guys, welcome to Chef Grace's Place. So today I have Anadi from Cooking with Anadi on YouTube. He is living in Canada, right?
Yep. Yep.
And you're also Indian, right?
Yep.
So you do a lot of Indian cuisine and a lot of Canadian-ish, like Western.
Yeah, I guess it's a mix of Indian and there's also Italian is my favorite as well.
Yeah.
Some American stuff and it's
Yeah, I
all a
saw the
mix. Whatever
pasta,
I feel like it. Yeah.
whatever you feel like.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you start your channel and what is your like background in cooking, I guess?
Um, so I started my channel, I think like 2015 or something when I first did my first attempt. Despite now it's my second attempt at it. Um, so I think I was annoyed by the quality of restaurants I had been to, where I live right now. And like there were times where I could just make better food in my kitchen.
Happens
And
to me all the time.
and I'm like, why am I paying all this money to a restaurant where I'm not even happy with the food? Like there are a few exceptions, of course, but a lot of the times I was just annoyed. And it was my sister and my girlfriend that kind of pushed me to, hey, you know what to do. Why don't you tell the world and educate them? And like, I don't know, like I didn't feel like I could do it just because I'm not the most um, outgoing or like not, I'm kind of reserved a little bit, I guess. So to be in front of the camera, in front of the world on YouTube, it was just very weird to me. But I just tried it once and it wasn't half bad. So we started it off from that push that I got. We started on Instagram first and then we went to YouTube. In terms of my background, like our family is full of foodies. So we just love to eat. And because we've like tried all kinds of cuisines growing up, I grew up in New Delhi in India. So I've tried like
Cool.
all kinds of food growing up, like all kinds of cuisines. So I guess I had like a sense of like what good food should taste like. And when I found out that what I'm tasting here is not the best that I could, like it kind of triggered me, which made me like, do all this stuff. But I guess I've been making like homemade pizzas, always although not the same scale, since like grade seven, I guess, 7 or 8. But it was like maybe like ready-made dough and processed cheese. So that's all we could get in Delhi back then. Right now, the game has completely changed. I feel like the moment I left Delhi, all this great stuff came in, which I completely missed out on. But I've just been like, I just enjoy cooking. I enjoy watching my mom cook and just the process of some random ingredients coming together, making this awesome meal, which a family can enjoy and create memories out of. Like, that's just awesome to me. So that's kind of like what got me interested in cooking and eating and stuff like that. That was a long answer.
Oh, so that's not a long answer. That's awesome. I have a lot of more questions. Let me get.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man, I prepared for myself and I didn't even know
It's okay.
it. I wanted to ask you. So I watched. I don't remember the name. The rice video with all the vegetables in it. I
Yeah,
watched
the pulao, yeah.
Palau. Okay. I watched the chicken tikka masala and the naan video because
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
come on. Of course I
yeah,
did.
of
Look at
course.
me. And then, I also watched the grilled cheese video because I love grilled cheese.
Yeah.
Um, I'm wondering, as someone like I love Indian food, but I don't know anything about it, and to me, it's like very overwhelming because I know like India is such a big country, or
Mm.
yeah, and it's like so much variety. Like,
Yeah.
where do you start? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Like even me, I only know or I'm only good at North Indian food. That's it.
Okay. Because
Like
you're
I
from
have
North
tried.
India.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm biased towards North Indian cuisine. So that's all of your butter chickens, your naans. That's all only in North India. Now there's West India, East India, South India, which I've only tried a small fragment of foods from. Like the only thing that I'm good at making and that I'm familiar with from South India is something called a dosa, which is basically a pancake made of rice and lentils. And you can put like all kinds of like fillings into it. So it's like fermented rice and lentils, which you kind of like soak overnight and then you blend it all up to make a batter. And then you ferment that as well. And the pancakes are like really nice and crispy. They can be like 20 foot long if you have a pan that's big enough. Like there's some restaurants here that do that as well. So I'd say you start with the classics. Whatever you enjoy cooking or whatever you enjoy eating at your favorite restaurant, try making that at home because you know what it should be like. Because even me, if I want to try something from East India, I literally have never tried it. So I wouldn't know if I'm doing it right or not. So I'd want to like go out and try a few things and then sort of start getting into cooking it as well.
Are there certain characteristics of India? Like, for instance, my family is Italian, but the Italian part of my family is Northern Italian.
Mm,
And I grew up in a town that was super like Sicilian and Southern Italian.
yeah.
And especially when you look at the sauces, you notice that like as you go more north in Italy, you see more of like the French influence and you also see a lot more butter.
Mm,
And whereas if in southern Italy you see a lot more like olive oil based things.
yeah.
So I'm wondering like is that is there something like that where you could kind of see where you are and like what kind of techniques are in that region as opposed to another region?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. So I think like it depends on what grows locally and what
Okay.
is like a special that and that kind of becomes a speciality of that region. So North India, Delhi is what was the capital of when the Mughal Empire was ruling over India. I think before the way before the Britishers came in. Um, the capital was New Delhi. So that's why you see a huge um, influence of like creamy sauces and tomatoey sauces and all the rich foods that you find. That's in your popular restaurants. And as you go down to the south, there's lots of banana leaves and banana plants in the southern region. So in South India, it's custom to eat on a banana leaf instead of a plate.
Oh,
You
that's so
literally
cool.
eat on a banana leaf, and there's lots of coconuts down there as well.
It's like
So
Caribbean almost.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
So like you get like all kinds of like coconut chutneys, and the dosas have that sort of influence as well. And you get lots of seafood down there as well. I have never tried seafood when I was in India, ever, because you just at the restaurant menu, you would just see all kinds of chicken. I'm saying recipes because I'm used to it. All kind of chicken items and like a fish curry, which is like just generic. So like one or two items. So it's just not popular because
Well, if you're not close
fish
to
is
the
popular in the
ocean, then
south.
why, you know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
not going to be
Yeah.
fresh fish.
And it's similar to that in East and West as well. But I just haven't tried it. It's just that vast that I've never even tried it. But I can't answer that well.
So when did you come to Canada from India?
I was about eight. I was 18. Yeah, when I came in.
How old are you now?
25.
25? Okay.
Yeah,
Just wondering.
yeah, yeah.
So before I started recording, you mentioned you worked in professional kitchens. Did you go to culinary school or did you just start working?
I started working while I was studying at university,
What are you studying?
and I'm done now.
Or studied?
But I did software engineering,
Okay.
and I finished that program already. Like it's been 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years. So it's been a while.
23? That's a normal. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to think.
hmm Yeah. So I did it like I think for 2.5 years or something, the restaurant job. And then
What was your job in the restaurant?
I was the line cook.
All
So
right.
I actually like did lots of sushi when I first started. So I'm pretty good at making sushis and like all kinds of stuff. I actually first started at a sushi restaurant, and then I moved to my last restaurant job that I had. And
What kind of
there I also like, go ahead.
what kind of restaurant was that?
It was premium casual. You must have heard of it. Joey Restaurants. It's all over Canada, and there's like I think two branches in America.
I've never been to
Yeah.
Canada. Joy restaurants? Like
Uh,
Happy
jo
Joy? Joey.
Joey. Yeah, Joey's.
Like, yeah, I don't know
Like
Joey's.
like from Friends.
I know a lot of Joey's, but I don't know Joey.
Yeah. So I've worked at Joey, and in addition to like sushi, line cook, I was also like eventually moved to like starters and I guess the ovens section of the kitchen. It was an open kitchen, so there was like lots of pressure. People would like see everything you were doing. So in the ovens, like I did all kinds of desserts and flatbreads and paellas and all kind of stuff there. So it was good. It was a fun time.
Cool.
Hmm
So naan. I am so happy I watched your naan video. So in culinary school, or pastry school, I we had like one day, or we had a couple days of like
Yeah.
international bread class. So my group got naan. None of us had ever had naan before. What do we
Yeah.
make this dough? And we had no idea. Like they give you the instructions. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, have you ever seen the Great British Bake Off?
I've heard of it. I've been meaning to watch it.
All
Yeah.
right, it's pretty good. But they have a challenge where it's like it's a technical challenge, and so the chef gives you a recipe, but like unless you've had it before, like there's no picture or anything, you don't know what
Hmm.
it's supposed to look like or taste like. It's just like here, figure it out.
It's like Hell's Kitchen, right? Like they just give you a cuisine and you have to like kind of nail it.
Yeah, so they gave us
Yeah.
like they gave us the instructions and stuff, but like you don't realize how thin you really have to make it. And so it's not like this thick. Like I remember
Yeah.
we like baked it off and it was like two
Like
inches
a
thick.
focaccia.
Yeah, it was like a focaccia. I was like, oh, I don't like nah, this is gross. And then I went to the first Indian restaurant
hmm
um, that I ever went to, and I had naan. I was like, this is not what I made it go. I was
Did
like,
it taste like it at least?
it tasted. No, I think we
No.
like maybe we overproofed it or something because
Yeah.
the yeast it almost had like a chloriney taste to it. And
Mm.
sometimes that happens if it's like, the yeast is not that great.
Mm. Okay.
So, um, but I'm glad that I like had it later and it was like so good. So now I'm gonna try again with your recipe.
Yeah, try it. Like I showed like three ways, so you can like see like what you like the best.
I saw
Like,
the garlic and butter and I was like, I'm sold.
yeah.
But I don't know. That's usually done on a tandoori oven or no?
Yeah, that is, yeah. And unfortunately, even like my recipes can't replicate the flavor
Yeah.
from a tandoori oven because that oven goes up to like 2000 Celsius.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you can't get that smokiness from a home broiler. So
You were
it's the next
saying
best thing.
something about the gas about in the end of the video, which I didn't understand. It was because you had it on the skillet
Yeah.
and then you're saying you could put it on like did you mean like hold it over the flame?
Oh, so that'll be dangerous. Don't do that. Usually when I want to do that, when I want to kind of roast it on the stove itself, I put a wire rack over the stove and you can put the naan on it to kind of lightly char the naan, which gives it a nice
Okay.
homemade smoky flavor. Yeah.
Oh, so you could
Yeah.
really do naan on like a campfire.
Yeah, you could. If you just
That would
need a
be
wire rack to like kind of distance it.
okay.
And Like I use that technique to like roast eggplant. I just like put a wire rack over my stove and I put the eggplant right on there.
I don't
And
even
it
put the
just,
wire rack on it or the like red peppers. I just, like the burners. I just put it right in the center burner.
well, yeah, I don't have a fire burner. That's the thing. I have like an electric one.
Yeah, me
So that's why I
too.
have to like improvise. Oh, okay. You just put it right on there.
No, no, not on the electric one. When
Okay,
I
okay,
used to
good.
have actually I just got, but I haven't used it that much because the
Yeah.
first time I tried to set it up, I think I set it up wrong and I thought it was going to blow up the apartment. But I got one of those campfire stoves where you
Okay.
put in the can of butane and
Yeah.
they're like $30. They're really good, but that's gas. So
Hmm.
I could do something with that.
Hmm.
But you could also do it on your grill outside too.
It's not allowed in my apartment.
I
But
mean, they just have to catch you, you know? Well, they don't catch you, you're fine.
do you have one?
I just have that little butane one, but I live in Florida, so
Okay.
there's actually community grills in like the common areas
Yeah. Yeah. I
but
think
I
it'll be like
don't,
in one of the nicer condos. Like if I moved there, but no, they don't have that here.
nah, save
One
up
of
and buy
like
a
older
house,
buildings.
you know?
I will.
That's what I'm like. Oh, I need a house.
Florida's so far away. And like flights from Canada is like ungodly expensive. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's crazy.
I remember like because before the pandemic happened, I have
Yeah,
to call it something else because
I
apparently
know. Yeah.
YouTube
I've
would,
heard that. I noticed that and I found it very weird. But yeah, let's do that.
yeah, I don't know what to
The
call it.
thing. The
The
thing.
thing. When the thing happened, maybe I'll bleep out the pandemic like it's a bad word.
Yeah.
But so when that happened, I was working as an international flight attendant.
Okay.
So like with my benefits to get to Canada, like it would have been cheaper for me to go to Europe and find a flight from Europe to Canada than to
I
go.
know. It doesn't make any sense. Like flights from Ottawa to Montreal, it's like $300. Okay. My sister did a trip from Chicago to New York and back with hotel doing the thing though for 200.
But it's during the thing. That's why.
But even doing the thing, the prices were like $300 in Canada.
Oh, but that's standard in
Yeah.
America. Like my brother lives in LA, or now he lives in Nevada, but to get, when I was living in New Jersey, to get from like New Jersey to LA is 400, minimum. And
That's
it's like
unheard of here.
it's like $100 an hour if you think about it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Good.
it's ridiculous. But I'm sure they're cheap now. I have to get going to a wedding in July,
Yeah.
so I have to make sure I get that plane ticket cheap.
So
Um,
what do you do at your restaurant job right now?
so right now I actually teach classes at
Okay.
like it's like part time basically at it's called Sur La Table. It's like a restaurant supply store, but we have like a kitchen in
I've
the
heard of
back.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a kitchen in the back and we teach classes. So I mainly focus on the pastry ones.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll get thrown in with like the pasta and stuff like that. But,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
pastry is my specialty. So I prefer to teach that. But
I want to get better at pastry. Like I feel like I make all this savory dinners and I don't have the energy to make dessert after. I just don't
but
want
you
to do
have to
it.
make the dessert first. That's the problem.
I guess, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
most of the time the desserts need time to set up or something needs to rise and something needs to chill. Like you always have to do dessert first.
There's not enough time in the day, I feel.
No, there isn't. But it's also like hurry up and wait. Like,
Yeah.
like one time I just did pies. So I had like pie for like chicken pot pie for dinner, like
Hmm.
apple pie for dessert. Because it cuts
That's
down on
nice.
the
That's
work,
nice.
or you can do the doughs and throw them in the freezer and like pull them out when you need them. That's always nice. Just to
Okay.
have like a meal
Yeah.
prep style thing.
I don't like pies that much. I like creamy, cakey desserts.
It's like ice cream. You have an ice cream machine?
I don't know. I don't like ice cream that much though. I'm a bit spoiled like that. I like gelato more. Gelato is so much tastier.
Yeah, but gelato machines are more expensive than ice
Yeah,
cream.
I don't want to buy the machine. No.
Like, let's go get gelato. I like gelato better too,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I
Ben and
hope
Jerry's good.
I hope you don't hear the snoring in the recording. Do you hear anything?
No,
If the
who's
dog is
snoring?
snoring.
The
The dog
dog?
is snoring.
What kind of
Yeah.
dog do you have?
It's a French bulldog.
That's
Like I can hear him snore. I hope it's not in the recording.
that's awesome. No, I can't hear
Okay, good.
it. So, software engineering to YouTube.
Mhm.
So, how did you go from, how did you get, you just got a job immediately as a line cook with no experience? Like,
Yeah. So the thing is, it's a big company. So I guess they have the budget to like train people on the job. So on there, if you go on the website and try to apply for a job, it just says no experience, no worries. If you have the drive or something like that, like if you have the skills and the drive, come in and we'll have a chat. And I guess I met the right person at the right time and I got lucky.
wow,
Yeah,
that's nice.
yeah.
That's crazy though. Because usually you get, like,
I
even
guess
to
I had
get in,
some experience, right? Like I was at that sushi restaurant for like a few months. So I
how did
had
you get in there
something.
though?
I just applied and it was a new restaurant. It was a brand new restaurant and I guess they were desperate. I don't
They
know.
didn't throw you on like dishwasher first? You know what I mean?
No, I started training with the sushi chef on the line and that was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I got
There,
lucky, I guess.
yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So, do you make a lot of sushi at home now?
No, I have never made sushi since I left the job. Just just because I made so much of it, I got sick of it. But like I do want to like start making it again. The thing with sushi though, you need to do so much prep and you need to get so many different ingredients. And I feel like if I stop making sushis after like a week or two, they're just gonna like stay in my shelf. I don't want to like waste ingredients. So
How
I don't
many?
know.
I mean, don't you just need like fish and rice?
So you need like to make like all the different kinds of sauces. Like if I want to do sushi, I want to do it like all out. So you have to make like your own homemade like vinegar for the rice, and I'd want to make like tempura batter to like fry tempuras, make yam fries. I mean not yam fries, yam sushi rolls and all. And I'd want to like get some good fish, like sushi grade salmon and tuna. And I just don't know right now where to get it from. I haven't put in that work to like find this place. Um, I just don't want to put in that effort right now. I'm kind of lazy about that. But I want to do it so I don't lose that skill, you know?
Well, I'm pretty sure that, but don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
You, in order to make fish sushi grade, you just have to
Yeah.
freeze it for like 3 days or something to kill all the parasites or
Is there
something.
like a certain temperature you have to freeze it to, like minus 30 C or something?
You talking
I don't know.
Celsius to an American? No, no.
No.
uh, I think. I mean, I'm sure there is a certain temperature,
Yeah.
but I just don't know what it is.
Okay. Yeah.
But if there's a sushi chef listening, maybe they'll comment and
Please
tell us.
do.
But that's
Yeah.
what I need. I need to find a sushi person because I don't know
Oh, and
anything
then you
about it.
also need like the special mats to roll the sushi.
They're easy to
And
find though.
yeah, they are. Yeah.
You can.
It's just like so many different things you have to, get. Like for Italian food, I have most of the stuff all the time in my kitchen, or American food, like the fried food. And I don't know, like it's just so many things out of the way.
I feel that way
Get
about
it?
Indian food, so
Yeah, it's okay.
But
But I feel like all you need is a small selection of spices, and you'll have the rest at home. That's what I feel.
what kind of spices do I need?
Okay, so some key spices that I always use is ground coriander, ground cumin, which you probably already have if you make chilies and all at home.
Yeah.
Um, you need garam masala. Now you can make it at home, but it's a lot of work to make it at home. You need like all kinds of whole spices. So garam masala is a blend of spices,
Hold
and
on.
garam, yeah.
Grana masala?
Oh, garam, Garam.
Garam masala.
Yeah.
Masala like chicken masala?
No, masala is just a mixture. So
No,
garam
I'm just saying
masala is
like spelling wise, is that spelled the same?
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but that just means mixture in
Yeah. Masala just means mixture
which language?
in Hindi.
Hindi.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I assumed that. I thought you would know that for some reason.
No, I mean, I don't know anything about I mean, I knew it mean mixture, but I didn't know what because
Hmm.
I saw only because I saw ever see the movie Today's Special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I learned that from.
Yeah. So yeah, you
But
need garam masala, which is just a mix of different kinds of spices, which adds warmth to the dish. So
so there are, I'm assuming there's different masalas, and garam masala is the
one of
northern.
the most important, yeah, northern, yeah, North
Okay,
Indian. Yeah.
I'm taking note.
Um, yeah, definitely. And one special masala that I always use is called Degi Mirch, which is Degghi. And what's cool about just means chili, and Degi is, I guess, the way it's like ground up. I think I'm not
What
sure.
was the first word?
Degi,
What's the other word?
Mirch,
Merch, like MERCH?
Mirch. Yeah, like mirch is just chili. And
Okay.
what's cool about that is you can use that to add lots of red color, natural red color to the dish without that much spice. So you may
So
see
it's
me
not a
using,
hot chili. It's like
it's
a
not, it's kind of like a paprika.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta find
And
this.
yeah, that's basically it. You probably already have turmeric at home and salt, and that's it. And most of my recipes use a combination of these. Most of North Indian cooking, I feel, uses that as well. Don't quote me on that. They may like make some special blends as well, but at home, that's all you need basically. And the
And
rest you
what
can make
is the
whatever.
the garam? Like, what are they mixtures of?
So it has a mixture of cinnamon, whole coriander seeds, cumin. Um, what else is there? It's probably some cardamom in there and mace. So there are different variations of the recipe. So you may find on Google like there are all kinds of different types of garam masalas, but they will always have some sort of common subset of ingredients that you'll find.
And for people who don't know what mace is, mace.
Mace is something that grows outside the nutmeg.
Yep, it's on the outside of the nutmeg. It's
Yeah.
also when you mace someone, that is what you're spraying in their eyes. But
I
it's
didn't know
like,
that.
yeah, it's I mean now sometimes they use like pepper spray would like is another common name for it because they've changed
Okay.
the
The
formula.
recipe.
But the original one, like macing, is
Hmm.
it was in a spray and it caused blindness and
Hmm.
fun. But
Fun
it's
stuff.
more like floury than nutmeg.
Yeah,
So
it's like a really subtle nutmeg, I feel.
have you ever tried to use nutmeg as a replacement for mace or no?
I haven't, no, because I always have mace on hand. I can easily find it, but that'll be a good test.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I could find that easily here in Florida, just
Hmm.
because it's Florida.
I'll ship you some.
Yeah, hopefully. But it's just there's a lot of things that like even in like Italian cooking, I was like, why can't I find this here? But it's very like chainy. Like I don't know how to like a lot of chain restaurants here, a lot
Okay.
of
Yeah.
just kind of like
Franchises.
franchised cooking in a way, if you think about it. Like
Are there
the,
like any like local like international grocery stores
there
in
are,
Florida?
but down here so far, what I've seen, um, most of it is like Asian, like Thai, and so
Hmm.
maybe, but and then also Caribbean.
Yeah.
Um, it's just it's just going to be a matter of like hunting it down.
Yeah.
But I think May shouldn't
But
be
it
too
depends on the
hard for.
demographic too, right? Like if there are not that many Indians there, there's no demand for them to keep that stocked. So I don't know like what it is like in
I
Florida.
think maybe like a couple like towns over. I think there's like quite a few Indian restaurants, so there's got to be a grocery store around there where I can
Hmm.
find everything.
Okay.
But it
But
is
yeah, like a
very like
nutmeg could be. I'll try it. I guess I'll let you know if I do try it. But I guess you just have to use a really tiny bit just to for the same effect.
like a little pinch.
Yeah.
But that's also
Yeah.
like a good it's like a good trick when you're doing like anything that's with like cinnamon or very like a lot of those spices
Mm-hmm.
to put a little nutmeg in, because when you put enough nutmeg in where you don't actually taste the nutmeg but it's still in there,
Yeah.
it like causes your brain to go, I like that, but what is that? And you keep eating more of it. So
Mm.
it's a little trick. I always put a little nutmeg in my cinnamon sugar, and people are like, "This is so good,
Mm,
but
okay.
this is better than my other cinnamon sugar." But why? I'm like, I don't know.
Mm. What do you use the cinnamon sugar for except like I guess cinnamon buns? What else? I've not done much baking.
I
What
noticed.
have you, yeah, what have you used it for?
Um, there's just so many things.
What's your favorite?
Well, um, tomorrow in my croissant class, we're gonna take all our croissant class scraps. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna throw them in cinnamon sugar and like ball them up
Ooh.
and then bake them into like muffin tins. So they get like explodey, but they're crispy and stuff, and it's really good.
Oh wow. I
But
like that.
use that like a lot in that way where you're just kind of like covering dough and frying it or
Mm-hmm.
baking it, or it's a great like, well, I don't know what to do with this dough. Let me like throw a bunch of cinnamon sugar on it and bake it.
So it's almost like donuts then at that point, eh? Like fried. Yeah, like because here we have Timbits. I don't know if you know Tim Hortons in Canada.
I've heard of Tim
Um,
Hortons, yeah.
so Tim Hortons has something called Timbits, like tiny round donuts, and I think they have some cinnamon variations of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, there's also a really famous cookie called the Snickerdoodle.
Hmm.
Have you heard of that?
I've not. No, I've
It's
never tried it
basically
either.
like it's basically a sugar cookie, but before you bake it, you roll the little ball of dough in cinnamon sugar and then you bake it off, and it creates like a crispy outside with the cinnamon sugar. It's really good.
I made that not that long ago. Sugar cookies. I should have talked to you before.
So, what else do I need to know? Like, where else should I start? I mean, I do want to do the what is. Here's another question. I love chicken tikka masala. I love butter chicken, but I feel like they're almost the same recipe. No?
Have you tried both at restaurants?
Yeah, but I'm not like
Yeah.
without even looking at the recipe. Like it just seems like butter chicken like isn't as spicy. Is that
Mm, I think that spiciness is about the same
yeah?
for my recipes for both the dishes.
Okay.
And the spiciness is like very moderate on my recipes for both the dishes, just because it's a balance of like spice and sweet. And it's just
What's
like a
what's the
flavorful.
difference though?
The difference I feel is so a makhni sauce that is used in a butter chicken is only made of tomatoes, butter, and cream. That's how you get the sauce. While the chicken tikka masala, my recipe is not a gravy. It's like a thick gravy with like onions in it. And there's also another ingredient which I don't add because I can't find it easily. It just also adds to the creaminess, and it's basically milk solids, which you can kind of make at home, but it's a huge process. But
Like
it's
browned milk solids? Milk solids is not a big process. I don't know what you're talking about.
in my head it is, and I don't want to do it.
What are we browning milk? What are we doing with the milk solids?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's called koya in Hindi, and I don't know what it's called in English. I have to like look that up. But it basically looks like almost like a ricotta, but it's not really a ricotta.
Oh, I
I
think
think you
I
know.
know probably an easy way if this is what it is. If like it
Yeah.
is what I'm thinking of, then I think I know how to do it. So when you clarify butter,
Hmm.
right? The milk solids separate out and like fall, either go to the top or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you, we used to do this in the restaurant because we use so much clarified butter.
Hmm.
We would make popovers all the time, and you have to clarify the butter for the pan for that. So
Okay.
we would get like a Cambro, which is like a hold on.
Hmm.
It's just like a brand of container, but everyone calls it a Cambro,
Yeah. No,
right?
I know what that is.
So yeah, so you melt all the butter, you throw it in here, you let it solidify overnight, and because you melted it, all the milk solids fall to the bottom, and you have like this stripe of white and this stripe
Hmm.
of like yellow butter. So then you take it, you wash your sink because don't be gross. You
Yeah.
wash your sink,
Okay.
and then you flip this out in the sink to like release it. You have to put like warm water over it, and you'll hear it
Oh.
like thunk when it comes out, and you pull it up, and then what you would do to get those milk solids, because really what we would do is we would just brush them all off and like
Hmm.
wash them down the sink. But it sounds like it does feel like cottage cheese. It's just this thick white part, and if that's what you're thinking,
Yeah.
you just scrape it off, save it, you'd have the milk solids, but then you'd also have all this clarified butter.
Win-win.
Like
Yeah.
just melting some shit and put it in the fridge.
I'm gonna try that.
If
I'll
that's
find
what
some
it is.
time. But yeah, so the difference basically is like it's a more richer gravy when it comes to the butter chicken, while chicken tikka masala is like a more chunky sauce traditionally.
It has more
Um,
aromatics in it, it sounds like.
More aromatics, yeah. And it's just if you try it the right way, like I've tried it at restaurants before, and I think what the British recipe tries to do, like, because they're the one who created it, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not an Indian dish at all, chicken tikka masala.
It's
It's
like
a British dish. Um,
Indian English instead of, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and they turn it into a gravy, which which makes it like butter chicken, because at that point the onions are like so emulsified, like with the sauce, like it's almost like having butter chicken. But you have it like my way, and you can really like tell the difference, and it really like makes you excited for something other than butter chicken.
That's true.
Yeah. And I put like whole sauteed peppers and tomatoes and onion in it, which adds like a nice full-bodied completion to the dish, kind of. It makes it different. It makes it more fresh, I feel, instead
So
of just
growing up,
heavy.
like what chefs did you look at, or did you just learn this all from like your mom or something?
No, I didn't learn anything from my mom. Sorry. I learned what not to do for some cases, but there were some recipes like the grilled cheese that you saw recently. That's what she used to make us. But there was this one chef. that was always in the background while we were like watching TV, while my mom was watching TV. And his name is Sanjeev Kapoor. He's a really like award-winning chef in India. And that's kind of how I got into restaurant style cooking when I got here. I remember my first year of university and I was feeling homesick. So I wanted to have some butter chicken, right? So I went to a restaurant and I'm all excited. And I come home and it's smelling really good. And then I try the first bite. I'm like, what's this? This is not what I had in my mind, but I had built up after like months of like not having it. Because it's expensive over here. I don't know about the US. It's like really hiked in price and they give you tiny portions, which is not what they should give. And I think they pull like people who don't know Indian food, like they just like take advantage of you. But whatever. I just knew of one Indian chef, Sanjeev Kapoor, and I Googled like his recipe and I decided to make it. And it turned out so good that it just kind of kicked up the drive inside me that, hey, listen, you don't have to like rely on restaurants. You can make it. So that's kind of like how I got my start. Because before university, I would just like make things like eggs for breakfast, like nothing like
The
too
bachelor
impressive.
cooking.
The bachelor cooking, yeah. So thank God for that restaurant that I cook now. So yeah, Sanjeev Kapoor, yeah, he's
So
pretty cool.
I forgot my question. That happens. Oh, so with the everything that's going on, um, it's also good to learn how to cook stuff, obviously.
Hmm.
So what's it like in Canada? Like what's happening with that? Are you're cooking? Can you even go to a restaurant?
Uh, you could until 2 weeks ago. So there were some stricter rules that came in because right after the holidays, right around it, um, the cases started going up because of the thing, and they just locked everything down again. So gyms are closed now again, and it was open all throughout December until the very end. And we did go to a few restaurants then. So I don't know. Like I'm not sure like how they're dealing with it because when you go into a restaurant, you go in with a mask, but then you sit down and then you can take your mask off. So like the ventilation is there. I don't know what they're doing for the ventilation. Like I don't know how safe it is, but it had been a while. We wanted to go.
Yeah, but it's it's definitely hard for
Yeah,
restaurant owners and everything like that. But
definitely. Like I'm like seeing such like because I'm still like on the email chain for Joey restaurants, and I see like such like strong aggressive marketing to like get gift cards or like holiday kits and all kinds of meal kits, and like I can see like that they've like really ramped up their marketing so like they can sell more. But I feel bad for that. I feel really bad for the restaurants.
are they doing takeaway?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you guys say
but it's
takeaway
just
in Canada or you say takeout?
takeout, I think. I don't know. I say takeout, but like my English is kind of a mix of Canada and India and British English, so I'll just
Oh,
say
The
takeout.
Britain they say takeaway.
Yeah, like I think
I don't
I've
know why I said
changed it to
takeaway.
takeout then. I've changed it to takeout then. I think I say
You're
takeout.
more American.
Yeah, I get it. It's all corrupted.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean Florida's the Wild West, so they're just doing whatever they want.
So you can go to restaurants still right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I'm teaching cooking classes to the general public. Like
Do you
yeah.
feel like any sense of like safety being endangered for yourself?
Nah, I mean I feel like it's just as dangerous as going to the grocery store. You know what I mean? Everybody has a
Hmm.
mask on, nobody's allowed to eat in class. So it's like
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
it's just as dangerous as going to the grocery store, basically, Once in a while you have
How
somebody
long are the classes for?
they're like 2.5 hours.
Okay. So it's not that bad then. I
No.
always wonder like when people like who work like shifts at the grocery store, like how do they manage to wear a mask for like hours upon hours?
Oh
That
yeah,
must
I
be
mean, I'll
hard.
be there for like 8 hours, because you have to prep before class. You have to,
Hmm.
you have to do more than just teach the class type thing to do the job. But
Okay.
I right now I'm only wearing like the paper masks
Hmm.
because the like the municipality or the town basically I live in,
Yeah.
they mailed out a bunch of cloth masks for
Okay.
everybody, just so everybody would have a mask. And the elastic on it is so like it like rips the skin away on my ear, and because it's cloth and it's heavier, like after 8 hours, like I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Like I feel myself like even in the paper mask, like if you wear it for such a long time, you like I remember like why do I feel so agitated for no reason?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
I feel that too. I feel that when I'm going out,
And
getting
then I
groceries
take the
and all.
mask off and I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. What happened?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. It's the same.
But
It makes you feel
I think it's
trapped.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's almost like that claustrophobic like panic,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like a lot smaller. Like that's a lot of drama, but like it's like it's there.
It is there.
So, but I just think, but then it just drives me nuts when I see these assholes with their nose hanging out and shit. Because like, if I could
You're
like
not wearing it.
toughen up, like I know like I know. I mean, I like not. I'm very lucky. It's not like any of my like immediate family, but like
Hmm.
I know over 10 people now. Like in like probably maybe my uncles, like his like
Mm-hmm.
uncle and aunt died. Like I know like
Oh,
10, at least 10 people now.
yeah.
So this is not fake news. Like
Yeah.
cover your nose.
Yeah.
They're like, it doesn't work. I'm like, it doesn't work if nobody does it right. If everybody
Yeah.
does it right, especially since now they're reporting that influenza is down by like 98% because everyone's wearing a mask. Because that's
Oh.
harder to transmit than COVID. So, I mean, that's great. You know,
Hmm. So it is
so
doing something.
it's doing something. So it's just like, but I live in Trump land, so
Mm-hmm.
Mar-a-Lago is like right up the street. So it's like
Yeah. Okay.
fake news central over here. So I gotta.
uh, fun.
Oh,
Have
that's
you have you seen him in person? Like, in,
my boyfriend. He works at the airport where he flies in, so
mm-hmm.
he sees like Air Force One all the time, and he
Yeah.
actually
That's cool.
yeah, there's a helicopter that I guess it flies with the airplane to like defend the airplane or something. It's
Okay.
called Marine One. So he does like a lot of times he has to like defuel the helicopter and stuff. So the Marines gave him like this commemorative coin and stuff about
That's
like
very cool.
it was cool. So he was all excited about it. He's like, I wish it was a different president, but it's still cool.
It is. I'll take it.
Yeah. So that's cool. But
Hmm.
not that, it's just it's a rough time to be an American right now. So just
Mm.
you know, call you up when things get rough. You can help me across the border.
There's some more days left.
Yeah. 13 more days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that shit was crazy. Yes, was it
Hmm.
yesterday or day before
Yesterday.
yesterday? Yeah, it feels like.
Yeah. But like, it's funny how the reports are like painting the people who went in Capitol Hill compared to people like who did the Black Lives Matter protests. Like, it's such a different shade of gray for each type of protesters. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, 100. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. And
Yeah.
like I mean, once I understand why the people that were there didn't use so much force because they were outnumbered. And
Hmm.
like, if you're in a situation where you're outnumbered, your best chance of survival is to de-escalate, not to
Hmm.
escalate.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
understand that, but from the beginning, they knew about this. They knew it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
It's
knew about
building
that.
up. Yeah.
So they should have had more people there. But the problem is, you have the state police and everything, but then you have the federal.
Hmm.
And who's in charge of the federal? Who's in charge of the military? Donald Trump.
Hmm.
So he's just,
I heard like there was a set of troops that were ready to like come in and support, but they needed permission from I think the Secretary of Defense, and they couldn't get him on the phone. So they were just waiting for orders to leave. They had everybody ready, but they couldn't get the orders.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like all and like for them to be like that's they're saying, oh well, like the election was stolen, or like 60 lawsuits. Trump appointed judges.
Hmm.
At what point are you realize you're like trying to make this guy into like your god or your king, and that is not democracy.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why we don't have a king. There's a reason why we left England. Like, come on, come on. So it's just it's so annoying because especially in my job as a flight attendant, I flew with people that had all different sets of beliefs, but like, they would do anything to defend them, and it's like, how do you reason with that thought process, And I think a lot of it has to do with, especially after watching The Social Dilemma, like
Hmm.
it's like brainwashing, you know?
Yeah. It's cultish.
And I think the biggest problem, like the thing that's going to fix this is education, which is something that's sorely lacking in America. Like,
Yeah. I
unless you get to
guess. I
like the
don't.
college level, unless you get to
Yeah.
the college like level where like we have some of the best colleges and universities, like if you don't go to a good public school, or you go to especially, I was very lucky, where I grew up in New Jersey just had a really good public school system. And I
Hmm.
didn't realize that until I graduated and I went.
Yeah.
And even still, we had a bunch of fucking idiots there too. Like, I'm not going to say they were like, they're still, I'm like, what are you doing? Um, but there comes a point where you can't really depend on families to educate their kids, because a lot of people aren't lucky enough to grow up in a
Mm.
family where their parents can take the time to sit with them and educate them or
Yeah.
help them with their homework. Like, you can't just assume everyone has that opportunity.
The
Uh,
luxury. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's like, so we take all the funding out of education, and then we just have a bunch of idiots that are susceptible to like brainwashing, basically. And not all of them are
But like there
idiots.
are so many educated idiots as well, though, in the world, right?
Yeah, but I noticed like growing up, I was lucky that I had a lot of teachers. I had like, I'm 29 now, so I'm a little bit older than
Hmm.
you. But
Okay.
I noticed probably by the time you started high school, everything was more focused on standardized testing.
Mm.
And to me, that was a lot of memorization and
Same.
regurgitation of information. And
Yeah.
I was just really lucky to have like a handful of teachers that like didn't really give a shit about standardized testing.
You're lucky.
Yeah. And they were like, I'm going to teach you how to be a good human being and how to think
Uh,
critically, like how to say, okay, well, especially and just like teachers I didn't even have as teachers. I had this one
mm.
teacher. I didn't have this one teacher, Mr. Cicchino, who was an Italian
Okay.
teacher. And but he basically just taught life. Like
That's
he
so
went
cool.
Yeah, like he went into his classroom and like every classroom in America basically has drop ceiling, which is like
Hmm.
the tiles. And
Yeah.
every tile was painted from like students, past students, but they were all like the great Italian operas or movies or, and in his Italian classes, which I wasn't in, um, they would talk about situations in life and how you handle them, how you cope with them, but in Italian.
Yeah.
But he would do that for everyone. And I just happened, I was in like the extreme ballroom dancing club because I'm a super nerd. and our club like met after school a few days a week because in order to get into a good school, you had to be a part of like two clubs. You wanted at least two clubs on your like your resume for college,
Okay.
whatever. So I was in Extreme Ballroom Dancing Club.
Extreme ballroom.
It was extreme, but it was held in his classroom. So he would
Okay.
stay and he would, even though like one of the Spanish teachers was like our advisor or whatever, but he would just like hang out there. It was his classroom and he would just like talk to us, like that. And I had like a great science teacher who basically did the same thing, but she really um, challenged you to create hypothesis, like
Okay.
create a hypothesis and know what the scientific method was.
Yeah.
But then she also showed you how like you should apply this to like all information, not just
Mm,
science.
that's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's great stuff.
I think that really like helped out a lot. Because I had quite the I didn't my father was an alcoholic. He drank himself to death when I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
So I was not like I was literally one of those kids that was like the village raises the child.
Hmm.
And if I didn't have these like random like figures in my life to look up to and learn things from, like where would I be today? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really
Yeah.
think it's important to have that and we like the sense of community is like it's so important. And we don't have that now because everyone's community is right here. You know what I mean?
So were you like from did you grow up in like a small county in Florida?
No, I'm not from
Uh,
Florida. I'm from New
oh,
Jersey.
New Jersey.
I
Yeah,
moved to
sorry.
Florida a couple years ago for
Okay.
because my mom moved down here basically. But the I was like a small town in New Jersey, but called Nutley. It's where Martha Stewart's from.
Hmm. I like Martha.
But it's also it's very close to New York City. And
Hmm.
so like a lot of people who live there work in New York City or um, we're also bordered by a lot of like other like towns that are I mean we call them towns but they're more like small cities. So we have like Newark,
Okay.
Clifton, but like there's so it's very like urban. It's that more urban than suburban, even though
Okay.
the town I grew up in was more suburban, I guess. And
Okay.
very, very Italian. It was kind of like this weird Italian bubble in the middle of like just like a lot of Spanish, a lot of Indian, a lot of like because Jersey City has so many
Yeah.
uh like Indian spots. There's like a whole little like I guess Little India. I don't know what they call
Is
it.
that what I was gonna ask what it's called? I have no idea.
I think
We
they
don't
call
have that
it
here, I think.
there's a
In Ottawa at
section they
least.
call Five Corners because the intersection has five corners.
Yeah.
I think, and it's like all Indian. It's really cool. You go down there and it has like all these flags and stuff and like all these Indian
Hmm.
restaurants it's cool. But I haven't been there in a long time. I hope the restaurants are doing okay. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's if I didn't have that, and a lot of people don't have that, and a lot of people, especially in cities, don't have that, but a lot of people in rural America don't have that either, because the money is not put into the education system.
Hmm.
So like if you're only gonna get paid and teachers get paid shit. So it's like, why
True.
become a teacher? Why not become a software engineer?
Yeah, there's no motivation, I guess. I guess there are some teachers that have just the drive to like, just share
to change the
their
world,
in,
right?
but it's far and few in between, I feel.
Yeah, a lot of
So
people end up there. But if
I
you
wasn't
raise
in a
the
public
pay,
school system. I was in like the British schooling system when I was in
okay.
Delhi. So it was standardized, like you were telling me, and our teachers didn't grade the papers. It would go to Cambridge and we could grade it there. Like for the grade 10, which is the GCSE level, and grade 12, which is the A and O levels. So those exams were like the serious ones to like clear the major grade 10 and grade 12 hurdles. And that would go fly out to Cambridge, get graded. So for the teachers, I only had a few, maybe like two that were like the mentor types. And the rest, they just let me down so much because they have to like give you predicted grades so you can like apply for colleges. And there was just like no, they told me some things about what they were gonna give me and based on my potential and all, and then they did something else behind my back and they didn't really care about. I feel like when I got to university, that's when I learned how to study. I never got that in school. Like they were just like lots of rote learning, memorization, and then vomiting the on the exam paper. And I don't think I ever learned anything except passing my exams until my last few years of college. And a few professors is what helped me learn how to study, how to
How to
retain
learn.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to like teach myself that too. And I hope that in the future, like that's what's also taught in schools, not just how to pass an exam. So I don't know. That was a hard journey to just learn how to learn.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
I feel like uh cooking probably helps you out with that too.
true. Yeah. Yeah. Because then I guess you get in the cycle of trying something and trying to reproduce it and then going back to improve it. So it can apply everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I use it all the
Good
time.
point.
I was watching this interview with Dr. Andrew Huberman. He's like a neuroscientist. I'll send you the link.
Oh,
I think you might find it
okay.
interesting. But they're talking about like
Okay.
neuroplasticity and like how people learn and like how you kind of have to be like stressed out a little bit to learn things well. like, but
I see that.
it's a certain type of stress and like it was really interesting. But I was like, there's got to be a way to teach this in school so people can learn instead of just memorize.
What I've learned that helped me a bit is write notes as if you're writing cheat notes before an exam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. My problem
Yeah.
was that I mean, I wrote notes, but a lot of the times I would start doodling,
Yeah.
like just all the pictures. But then I realized I could remember things when I was like, okay, I was drawing this eyeball when they were talking about this. And I would do better on my tests with that
Yeah.
if I could.
Towards the end, I started recording my lectures, like the audio of it, while writing notes. I started like writing on my iPad and I could like play it and the notes would like come as the professor is speaking. So in class, usually the professor would say something and you would say like, yeah, it makes sense as he's saying it and like writing the notes. But then you would go home and you would forget all of it. And you're like, how did this make sense in class? So when I did that trick, that helped like kind of jog up that memory and the notes were coming in as the professor was speaking. That was very cool. I wish I had that earlier.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna do that with this when I go
Yeah.
back and I try to figure out the spices for chicken tikka masala.
You can check my recipe.
Oh, I'm gonna check that too. I'm gonna check all of it and be thorough
Yeah.
because yeah, I saw that recipe. Oh, Also, bringing up that recipe, you're cooking in a wok?
Hmm.
Is that normal for Indian cuisine or?
It is, yeah. It is pretty common. It's so I don't have like a traditional Indian wok right now, just because you don't really get the good quality ones here. But a wok or a pot is pretty common in India to make stir fries, curries, all kinds of things.
All right.
Yeah,
Do
I don't know
you?
why, um, but I feel like because it's in a big, heavy vessel, it helps like cook the ingredients more evenly. And I guess it adds like, I don't know, something.
Well, a wok, because of the way it's shaped, with the taller sides, it can actually get
Hmm.
hotter than a pot because you have
Yeah.
that smaller bottom, and then the heat kind of stays close to the bottom.
Hmm.
So that's why it's used in like stir fries and stuff where you need a hot heat to sear like the vegetables and everything like that in the oil.
Mm.
Um, but also, it just holds way more food,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is what I need because I've been making fried rice in my saute pan, and I
Yeah.
always get to the point where I add in the rice, and I'm like, how am I gonna stir this?
Flying
Yeah,
everywhere.
every time. I made some yesterday. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. But I think when I made that pulao, I made it in a pan, but that's because I didn't make like a ton of it, just like a small portion. So I always go up bigger than what you need.
I have to, I mean, I'm always cooking for, like, my boyfriend eats for like three people because he's just like, he's working outside all day on the airplanes
Yeah.
and like lifting airplane tires and stuff. And he's just like a big guy. So
Yeah.
he needs like three portions of food. We were staying with my mom and my her fiance, and then she was like, they were like, "Oh yeah, you could stay with us for a couple months, so you can like get first and last month's rent or whatever." And he comes up to me one day and he's like, How do you afford to eat? He eats so much. How? Because I would just like I was a flight attendant, so I'd be like, all right, have fun hanging out with my mom and leave.
Yeah.
And come back and like the first month they're like, how do you afford to live? Like how could you eat? I'm like, well, because they don't really cook like
Yeah.
you know, we cook everything because I mean we have to afford
You
it,
have to.
but you know, they don't. So they're like eating like, you know, like cold cuts and microwave stuff and whatnot. And he's just like eating all of it. We're like, this is so expensive. I'm like, oh.
Isn't the microwave stuff more expensive than like homemade stuff?
Oh, it's so much more expensive.
Yeah.
It's terrible
It's
for you.
terrible for you.
Terrible. It's so much sodium, so
Yeah.
many preservatives. It's and also
Yeah.
it's
Should
like,
just make the food.
yeah, you just make it. Just meal prep. Like get a rice cooker, get a, you know, a sheet pan. Like the easiest thing
Hmm.
to do is just like cook a bunch of rice, sheet pan a bunch of stuff like chicken or, you know, whatever, and portion it out and throw it in your freezer. Like that's the easiest thing to do.
I won't see myself doing that ever. I like having something new like every meal.
Well, what I do, this is what I do because
Yeah.
I made it sound like I portion it out in meals. I portion it out in components. So I
Okay.
have I usually do like a plain rice, and then I might have like two or three different types of meat, like maybe a pulled pork,
Oh,
a roasted chicken, and then I have like beans or something. I have a bunch of roasted zucchini in there right now. So then I will mix and match them. So then you do have
that's smart.
meat. And then you also have a bunch of sauces made. And so you leave the meats kind of plain. So you could just
Mm.
add whatever sauce to it and it makes it a brand new meal every time.
Does rice freeze well?
Yeah.
Yeah, never done that. Nice.
Yeah. And
That's a
so
great
does
idea.
like pasta and, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going
Mm.
to do like boiled pasta, you could just have a box of
Yeah.
pasta. But if you're going to do fresh pasta, that freezes well.
I'm trying that tomorrow actually. I'm gonna try to make raviolis at home. So
I
that's
have a
gonna be
good
fun.
video on that.
Not for a video though, for now. No, I've never made it before, so I'm gonna try it.
Oh, you should check out my. I have like a whole little series on pasta and
Yeah?
ravioli. Yeah,
Okay, I'll check it out.
you gotta check it out. I'll send it to you.
All right.
But it's easier than you think. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have
Yeah.
semolina flour though?
Yeah.
All right, so then you're
Yeah.
fine. It's kind of hard to find semolina flour down here sometimes,
Oh, really? I get it
especially
everywhere.
as things get more locked down. Like they run out. You can't
Yeah.
find it.
Do you use like a pasta maker, like the rolling pasta
Yeah, I
maker? Do
use.
you? Because I
I
don't
use.
have that, so I was hoping to just roll it out because it's
Oh,
just
you can just roll it
ravioli.
out. You can roll
Yeah.
it out, but you have to.
Yeah.
It's if you're gonna roll it out, I would say it's important to do the half semolina, half all-purpose flour
Hmm.
because the all-purpose is not as hard of a wheat as the semolina, so it's just
Yeah.
going to give you an easier time rolling it out. Um,
Okay.
but it might take you like work in small portions of the dough
Hmm. Okay.
because you might have to roll it out a couple times to get it nice and smooth.
Okay. Okay.
So
Would you recommend hand kneading the dough or using like a KitchenAid?
I always hand knead my dough.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
like I don't want to wash. I'm lazy. I don't
Hmm.
want to wash things.
I don't want to knead. I'm lazy. But yeah, for pasta, I think I'll do it. Because I've never done it, so I want to like get a feel of it.
Yeah, that's also important. Get a feel of it. But
Yeah.
also, I mean, you could do it in the mixer with the dough hook. Don't do it in the food processor. These
No,
fucking
no.
culinary chefs and they're making dough in the food processor. I'm over it.
I've seen some people do that, and I'm like, that can't be good for the motor in the long run to like
It's
process
not,
dough like that.
and it's also excess heat in the,
Hmm.
so it's not good for the dough. You don't want
Yeah.
to like when you're making dough, you don't want your dough to get too hot. Like,
Hmm.
so, especially if you have yeast in your dough or butter in your dough, you want
Yeah.
to control the temperature as much as you can. And using your hands is usually the least amount of friction. So you're going to
Hmm.
generate less heat that way. So
Yeah.
don't do it. And then also it's blades in the food processor. So all those nice gluten strands that you're forming, you're cutting with a blade.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do that.
yeah,
Don't do that, people.
don't do that, people listening. Sometimes I forget that like I'm recording this and people are gonna listen to it later. Like I just went on a long tangent about like I don't know being like
Yeah.
stool for like half an hour. I feel like
It was fun. I like to hear about it.
I'm just like that has nothing to do with cooking, Grace. What are you doing? But I think everything goes back to cooking. Why not? Like everything's
Yeah.
related. So
Our
especially
conversation started because of cooking, so there we go.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
What do you have back there? Like that's had me curious. That red jar on your left side. That looks pretty delicious. Do you see it? Yeah, that one. Yeah,
This
that looks very good. I don't know what that is though.
This is from my friend Oscar. It is a paste of a Peruvian chili.
I knew it was something I would like.
Yeah, and
That'll be good.
it's a really good chili. It's we made a video together because his video is actually like when I started my channel or when I was thinking about starting my channel was when I was still flying.
Hmm.
And so that video is like more true to like what I was trying to do with the channel before like everything happened because now it's so hard to like get together with people to
Mm-hmm.
make something. But we were actually on our last trip together as flight attendants. So it was kind of like all the germs you have, I have, because we were just traveling all over the world together. So he came over and showed me how to make ají de gallina, which is
Mm-hmm.
a shredded chicken dish with this pepper in it and condensed milk. It's so good. He took me to this Peruvian restaurant and I had it. It was like you have to teach me how to make this. Like, it's so good. But this
I've
pepper
never
is
had
really good.
Peruvian food before. I should try that.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And there's a very good, like I mean, I don't know if they're open now, but I feel like I have to say that with every restaurant. But I guess before everything happened, there's a restaurant in Peru. I don't remember the name of it, but it explores like all of Peruvian cuisine, and they're actually
Hmm.
on the San Pellegrino list. They're like, oh, I
Yeah.
see somebody walking over there. They're on the San Pellegrino list. They're like one of the top restaurants in the world. So it's really giving like shining a spotlight on Peruvian cuisine, and it's I'm really happy that we get to see all these cuisines because they have some cool stuff that you're not really going to hear about unless you're from Peru. And there's a lot of interesting ingredients they
Yeah.
use from the rainforest that kind of I feel like promotes the rainforest and probably you know don't chop down the rainforest, that kind of stuff.
That like brings up like an interesting scene from a movie. I don't know if you've seen Bad Teacher or not, with Cameron Diaz and Justin Timberlake, but Ethiopian cuisine is mentioned at some point in the movie, and Justin Timberlake is like a ditzy professor in that movie, and he's like very agreeable. So when he hears about Ethiopian cuisine, he's like, "Wow, they finally have their own cuisine." Because he never knew, but he was that ignorant about it. It's like, wow, they have their own food. It just, we love that scene from that movie. You have to watch that movie.
Oh, I gotta watch that movie. I'm terrible at like remembering movies. Like my boyfriend hates it because he quotes like all these movies, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Grace, we watched this movie 3 days ago." How do you know that?
I love movies because of my
I
mom.
love them. I just can't remember them for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just like there's a few movies like I remember from like when I was a kid, but
Yeah,
I can't like anything I've seen recently, like I can't retain it. I don't know why. It's
we
crazy.
just haven't found the right movie yet. We need the right movie.
That's true. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. I've seen some really good movies and I'm like, I don't remember. I don't remember. We just we watched we just watched Queen and Slim. That was really good. But like I remember how it ended. But like,
Haven't
like
seen
I
that.
couldn't quote any lines from it. There's probably not any famous lines from that one. It's pretty dramatic. I'm trying to think of something I can't even think of anything I just watched. Like it was bad. Because like I mean I guess we don't watch that many movies, but
Yeah,
the last thing I watched was Hamilton actually, because my friends were like, "You have to see it, you have to see it."
I haven't
And
seen that one either. I haven't even heard of that one.
well, it's a
Yeah.
play, but they filmed
Okay.
it,
Yeah.
and I was like, it can't be as good as everyone's saying it is. Like the hype is like so high,
Yeah.
and I'm like, actually, it was good, which is surprising because like
Is it
usually,
like a drama?
I mean, I guess it's a
Okay.
historical drama,
Okay. Yeah.
but I was surprised because it's number one, it's like a musical, so
Yeah.
I'm not like
Hmm.
I'm not like a super musical person, like I enjoy music. Like if I went to a musical,
Yeah.
okay, like
That's
that's a
different.
different experience. But to sit down and watch a recording of a musical, I'm like, you know what I
The
mean?
last one that I saw that was a musical was The Greatest Showman. And I loved that movie. But I don't really watch musicals that much either.
Yeah,
That's a good one though. Have you seen that one?
yeah, but I don't remember it.
I don't remember.
I remember Hugh Jackman's in it.
There you go. You know it.
Like I remember, like the showman. That's it. That's
I
all.
was so impressed. Like he was singing and all that. That like got me immersed into it. Because it
Oh,
was not
he's
just like
really good.
voiceovers. Yeah. And Zac Efron was in it, which was like awesome
Yeah, I
as
don't
well.
remember that. I don't remember that. I did watch that series he just had though
What
on
series?
Netflix
Haven't seen it.
about
Netflix Canada is not as good as Netflix US. That's why. That's why you're not here yet.
well, you can if you get like a VPN, you should know this. You're a
Yeah.
software
Yeah, I
engineer.
know. Haven't done it though.
Well, for people listening, you can get a different VPN, which is like the identifier of your computer. Am I saying
Hmm.
that right?
Yeah,
Software?
it's
Yeah.
about
Okay.
right. Yeah.
So, and then it could say like you're in a different country, and then you could watch whatever's licensed for that country. So, like, I used to do that all the time because for some reason in Copenhagen, you get all the new episodes of Outlander, but
Oh,
you don't get any of them in the United States. We're like really far behind unless you have stars, which I don't have. So
yeah,
it's a good
yeah.
trick.
It's like used to be a cheaper alternative to cable, and now they started like coming up with these side subscriptions like Stars and HBO and all these things, which is just making it as expensive as cable. Like we don't have cable, we just stream right
Yeah, I
now.
don't have cable.
It's way too expensive. There's no justification for the price. Like 80
Yeah.
bucks for like cable that you don't even use
Yeah, I
more than
used to
half the
think like
channels
I
for.
needed it for like breaking news, and now I could just watch it on YouTube. So I'm like,
Exactly. If it's breaking, it'll be on the internet.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Hmm.
I don't need cable.
Yeah.
So, and there's so many commercials. Like I was at my mom's house a little while ago, and I forgot like what TV was like, and I was like, why are there so many commercials?
Like 10 minutes of video and then 10 minutes of ad, and you basically are watching ads half the time.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
like, with the streaming stuff, like YouTube's free if you watch the ads, but then you can pay like
Yeah.
they better monetize the shit out of this video. I'm selling it right here.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
That'd be nice. Yeah.
give me those 1,000 subscribers. I'm selling you YouTube for you.
What are you at right now? I forget. A number of
Four
subscribers.
seven four. I want to say 472, but
Yeah.
that's probably just because you subscribe. Maybe you subscribe because I'm interviewing you. Yeah,
It's
472.
it's a slow game, I feel. Unless you get like I guess really lucky and the algorithm likes you. Like I guess like my current trends in the past 28 days it says I've gained about 200 subscribers, which is I guess when I started like getting more consistent with the uploads and just like trying different styles.
I'm also
But
wondering, because I was watching the Creator Insider stuff,
mhm.
that it seems like they're promoting a lot of things in India.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm wondering, there's got to be a way you could leverage that being Indian to get, to get that audience.
But won't they know based on my IP address that where I'm located, that I'm not actually in India? Like, I don't know if it's like a hashtag or like a tag kind of system or like your actual location, which they probably know.
Well, I don't really think that they care that much about where you're from, but I think if you
Okay.
can get your videos, like, I don't know, would Indian people be interested in, like, do you speak Hindi or anything?
I do, yeah.
Like, if you did a Hindi video in Hindi about, I don't know, like a
Anything,
Canadian,
yeah.
something you make in Canada, because I see all these things in different languages in India that are Indian
Hmm.
food that I'm like, oh, well, that must be authentic because they're speaking that language, but maybe not. But also, I have no
I don't
idea what
know.
that spices and stuff like that. But also, because actually, when I played your videos, things in Hindi, or I don't even know if they're Hindi, I don't want to say that, but
Hmm.
whatever language they're speaking in whatever Indian area that was from was showing up. So they're definitely connected to some of your videos, like in an up next fashion.
Okay.
So maybe there's a way you can exploit that.
But like the reason I chose to speak in English instead is so I can reach like a wider demographic.
Oh
Because
yeah, 100%. But I also think,
yeah,
like do both. Because I know like the ad revenue, they probably pay you less for a viewer in India on ads than they do in like Canada
yeah,
or the US or
yeah.
Scandinavia or whatever. But well, you're past the 1,000 mark, so it doesn't matter.
Just
You can. Did you hit your watch hours yet?
no, nowhere
No.
close.
Nowhere
No.
close.
Yeah. How close are you?
Oh, I'm not close. I think I'm almost at 1,000. I think.
That's more than me right now.
But
I'm
also, I
at
do these 2-hour interviews.
true, yeah.
So
I'm at like 890, I feel, right now, out of 4,000. So it's
80,
quite a way to,
90.
no, 890.
Oh, okay. I was like
Yeah.
80 or 90. I was like, whoa.
No, 890 out of like 4,000. That's quite a way to go.
That's a way to
Like
go.
if we go with the current trend, if nothing increases, it'll take like a year or a bit more than that to get to 4,000, you know?
Well, what
But
about
that's not what's gonna happen though, because we're gonna put more videos up, so they're gonna like cumulatively gain more views together, I
yeah?
guess. Yeah,
But
so
I also think like if like I don't know how many I don't see a lot of people speaking like Hindi doing Western food. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that could make you go viral because more people would speak in that language would watch it. But also I don't know how many people I mean, I feel like Americans and English people are the idiots that only speak one language. So I feel like people who speak Hindi also speak English, probably is the case. Like in
like I don't know if people who speak Hindi would want to make Western food, because
true.
growing up, I have felt the perception that um, Desi food, so Indian food, is real food. Like that's the food to have. And pasta, pizza, and burgers are like junk food. Doesn't matter if it's like authentic Italian. Doesn't matter. That's Indian food, and then there's other food. So
That's awesome.
I don't know. I don't know. Or you having pasta? I like when I would tell my mom, like in my first few years here, she would ask me what's for dinner. I'm like, well, I'm having pasta. And she's like, that's it? Because like for her, it's just like a snack or like junk
Like a
food.
little treat.
Like have real food, you know?
Yeah,
That was the
real
push that
food.
I felt. So I don't know. I don't know.
I saw this one guy who like you just gotta get that one video, Like
Yeah,
there's this one guy
yeah.
called the Modern Goldsmith that
Okay.
popped up because I was looking at jewelry stuff. My sister-in-law is a goldsmith too. So I just had I'm like, oh, let me check this out, like see what she does. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the video he went like viral on. Like he basically showed he did like a reacts video to like Ariana Grande's engagement ring,
Okay.
and then went from like not even 1,000 subscribers to like 10,000 subscribers overnight. So like
Wow.
it's all about just getting in front of eyeballs. And for me, I took out, I was like, well, let me take out an ad like right before Christmas or right
Mm-hmm.
before Thanksgiving. And I gained 135 subscribers in 2 days,
Yeah,
which is a
that's
lot
pretty good.
for
That's a lot.
me. So it was like how to do pie dough. And that I wasn't even like, because I don't really understand Google Ads yet.
Yeah,
I'm not good at
yeah,
it. So I just put a video, like I was like, here, promote this. You know what I mean? And I'm sure if I like knew what I was doing, I could probably get more like clicks per view or you know what I mean? Like more
yeah,
for
yeah.
my money. But to get the 135 subscribers, like that's worth it. They give you $100 free on your first ad or whatever. So
So do you like when you make your recipes, are you in front of the camera doing it, or do you do like a just showing the food off
Like,
without showing yourselves.
no, I'm in front of the camera because
Yeah.
I don't I don't like the videos that are just like I don't like videos that, let's put it this way. I don't mind videos that where it's not you on the camera, but I
Hmm.
don't like videos that are just like this, this,
Like
this,
the tasty
this.
kind of videos, right?
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
like, you're not explaining anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're doing. And I feel like when I'm explaining, it's better for me to be on camera because when I talk with my hands.
Yeah, me too.
So I stop cooking and I just start explaining things. So it's easier for me. And I've gotten better at it. And I've actually learned a lot from watching Philip Lemoyne, who's in the Cooker YouTube Cooks Creators group that we're in.
Okay.
Because he does like cinematography and all that other stuff. And what he does is he explains his whole thing on camera and then he cooks the stuff and shoots like all the B-roll of him cooking. And then he
Mm.
puts that B-roll on top of him explaining,
Okay.
which I kind of do a hybrid of that. Like I might do that for like mise en place. And
Yeah.
when I get to actually like cooking stuff or um, just like I get to a point where like I can't, like I have to do it and explain it
Yeah.
at the same time, then I try to just film. But then it's hard sometimes because I'm like far away from the camera and maybe I'm not
Yeah.
in center focus and like, or I want to zoom in more on the food. Like what I would love to do is save up and buy another camera and have one like pointed at my hands and one like
Mm.
pointed like out more and be able to like edit back and forth. But
Do
we're
you
not.
use like a professional camera or like your phone?
I use a camera now. I use
Yeah.
before I started the channel, I wrote a book on cooking with marijuana,
Yeah.
and I'm never gonna make any money with all the stuff I talk about on here. But so the camera that I bought to take pictures of the everything I made for the book just happened to be a really good camera for vlogging as well.
Okay.
It's like the Canon Mark G7X 2.
Okay.
That's the first time I got that right. But the one they made right after that, the Mark
Yeah.
III, is better because it has a microphone jack, and mine doesn't have
Okay.
a microphone jack. So that's what I
Mm.
would do next. And I'm just used to Canons because I took Photoshop in high school, and that's what we learned on.
Yeah.
So I'm used to like Adobe and I'm used to Photoshop just because that's what I know. But I'm sure
Yeah.
there's like people like Sony, people like Nikon, people like, all these other
Yeah.
brands, but I'm just not used to them.
See, I don't have a professional camera right now. I'm just using like iPhones for it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, like the newer generation iPhones, the cameras on there,
Yeah.
as long as you have the
Yeah.
4K or whatever that means, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's good. That's like my camera's 4K.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
That's what
Anything
I'm
you got on the
using
phone
for
now,
now. Like the cameras are like so expensive,
so expensive.
and like I want to get a good camera, professional camera, but it's like $400 for a good one that I've seen online. So,
Yeah, I was just
and
lucky that I bought mine when um it was like a sale package deal and I just happened to be like like we were flying around and I didn't have a like we weren't living anywhere yet, so we didn't have rent.
yeah.
So I just had some extra money
Okay.
at the time. Like thank God
Hmm.
I have it. Thank God I got that one.
Yeah.
Like
That's really good.
yeah.
Pretty good. In terms of my videos, the general feedback that I got from some of the Facebook groups is show the food more and not of you talking that much. So what I ended up doing now is I record the food like and get all the angles first, one like a top-down view and one like close-up shots. And then as I'm editing it, I do like a voiceover. I can like explain everything. So I'm testing out this new format to see if it's doing better than me talking as well.
I
Like I
think
try to do,
that
yeah,
I
go ahead.
I don't know if that was like before or after like your non-video. Like the non-video I really liked and you're talking
It
on it.
was after. It was after.
Like I don't think you're talking too much, but I think in like the some of the videos I saw, it's just
Hmm.
that it's the lighting is not great.
Yeah.
And I think if you change the lighting, because like even the when you're making the chicken tikka masala, the video quality was like a little grainy, but I noticed that it was kind of like overexposed because it looked like
Hmm.
pink. Like it didn't look red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you had it on the counter in front of you, it looked red.
Yeah.
So I think like if you change your lighting up, you might really be able to like improve and nobody I don't
Yeah.
fuck those
That's one
people
thing
that
I've
are saying you're
struggled
talking
with
too
though.
much.
But like I've struggled with that because I think the first time I used Premiere Pro, in the actual like video editor screen, it looks a certain way. Then when you export the video, it changes up how the filter actually is compared to the actual editor screen. And then different platforms like YouTube, they render the video out in a different way. I don't think I've found like the perfect filter to like export the video in so it retains the original format. And there were a few videos back then that suffered with that.
Yeah, do you do the
The,
MP4 high bit rate?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm. I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe Phil is watching this and he can chime in.
yeah. Like I Googled it, apparently it's like a common thing. And one of the suggestions was to use what's called a LUT, LUT, which is just like different like lighting effects you can add on export to like kind of retain the same video quality or filter as the editor screen. But I guess one of the videos there, like it was a bad filter, bad LUT.
Well, it just seems like I don't filter my videos on
Hmm.
because I just don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
So I'm just like whatever I get, I get. So I think if you just do like you seem to have like a window that's like very strong lighting.
yeah,
Like
maybe.
if you just change your setup, I think a little bit, you'd be better. Like I got like the lights I have now. Let's see if I can show you. You're gonna see how messy my kitchen is though, but it's okay. Um, how do we do that? Your camera. See all my junk. So the lights I have now, these
My
big.
light's like that too.
Yeah, you get. So I have
Yeah,
two, and they were like $60, I think,
yeah.
like on
Got it
Black
from
Friday.
Amazon.
Hell yeah, but I love them. Plus, I also have a ring light
Yeah.
too. But I now that I have these two, like I use that one like very like soft. So
Mm.
because you can see the ring light in my microwave.
Oh
But um, it's like you have that light coming from that one direction. So I think if you need to flood the light from all directions
Yeah.
instead of just that one direction. And I think
Okay.
it'd be better. But
Okay,
what
I'll
kind
try that.
of iPhone do you have?
iPhone 10, so from 3 years ago.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's I feel like that's just when the cameras started getting good though.
Yeah, yeah. And there's also like my girlfriend has the iPhone 10R from last year, I think. So I use that as well.
How do you the thing with that is like how do you do the storage part on that?
What do you mean? Like,
Like when you're making
like,
the videos, like every time I record anything on my phone, it's like, sorry, your storage is full.
oh, no. So I make sure that there's at least 20 gigs free on the storage, at least 20.
Oh, so
And
you
the
just have like
setting
a
that
big
I,
phone, I think.
yeah, no, it's the default one, the 64 gig variation. That's the base model
Okay.
for these iPhones now.
I have to
So
set
20
it.
gigs is enough for making like a full video. Like 20, 30-minute video.
Okay.
And I just make sure that I stop recording when I'm not doing anything for the video. So it's not just continuously rolling.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
That's probably why it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it works out. Like I have run into some issues before, but I've learned from it now. Yeah.
Maybe I should try that. But also, I don't know how I would do this because I'm sure it's different, like dimensions, right, with the camera. But they're
Yeah.
also trying to promote like more vertical videos on YouTube, like the
Yeah.
short, like they're trying to be like TikTok, and I'm like, stop it.
Yeah. Like I've been trying to like do some shorts, like for my general cooking, like here and there. Because then we can put that on Instagram as well. So it does work, but it doesn't like really help you with monetization. But I guess indirectly it will, because it'll like have a bigger reach. So people will like click on your channel. Like
All about the
one of the
eyeballs.
videos that I did, like I think 2 weeks ago, has like 7,000 views, which is like one of the highest in that duration.
What that's on?
So
What is it on?
it's on YouTube.
No, but what's it about? Sorry.
Uh, I forget. I don't know.
7,000 views, and you forgot.
I forget. See, I forget these little things. I just saw the number when I was looking at the Creator Studio today.
I have my highest viewed video is how to clean your rolling pin.
That's a great video. Like
Yeah.
one of my highest is how to make potatoes in the Instant Pot. And that's just a basic video. And
That's
that's like
because
blowing up.
yeah, Instapot.
Yeah.
Anything. I don't have an Instapot. Oh my god. So we have Instapots at work. It's really top because they want us to like try to sell them.
Yeah.
And like I have an Instapot rice cooker, which I didn't realize wasn't an Instapot because it
No.
says
I was gonna
Instapot on it.
say,
And I was just
yeah.
like, it's got a bunch of buttons. Like, this must be an Instapot. That's not an Instapot. So I will go into work. I'm like, I know how to use an Instapot. And I see this thing. I'm like, this is not, I don't know how to use this.
It's great. I like it. I like it. I got it as a gift. So, um, one bad thing about it though is it has a silicone ring and on the lid to help create the seal. And that ring just clings on to any odors, any scent from the food. And that is very hard to get rid of. So whenever you open the cabinet, whenever you store your Instant Pot, it's gonna smell like the last thing you cooked. And I think it's just bad silicone quality. Because I've had some Indian pressure cookers and I've had that silicone ring for like a long time on it, and it doesn't smell like the food I've cooked in it.
Huh.
Yeah.
I
So you
wonder
have
if
to
you
like
could
get
use baking
replacements
soda
every
on
few
that.
months. Sorry?
I wonder if you could use baking soda on it to get the odor out.
I've I've tried a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
It just never is the same as when we first got it.
how do you get you have to get a replacement every few months?
Yeah, it's annoying. Like I don't do it as often because like if you want to make desserts in it,
Yeah.
like you'd probably want to like use a different silicone ring
Oh,
so your
yeah.
desserts don't
Sure.
like
So they don't taste
yeah,
like onions.
yeah, yeah.
Like in the in the restaurant we use like quart containers and pint containers
Mm-hmm.
the Cambros like I showed you before.
Yeah.
And like it's the pastry chef looking for one that doesn't smell like onions because you just have your head in all of them sniffing them, like trying to make sure they don't smell like onions before you put like your chocolate mousse in there or whatever because you're a creme
Yeah.
anglaise and then you're trying to make vanilla ice cream, all of a sudden it tastes like garlic and onions.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing. I didn't realize that about the Instapot though, but I had a like I don't know. We made chicken stock in it in class, and I had one of the other chefs with me, and you have to like release the pressure before you open the
Mm-hmm.
lid,
Yeah.
and all the stock just started shooting up in the thing. I'm like, this can't be normal. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, that's normal. I'm like, that can't be normal. Like,
Like liquid itself or just steam?
It was like it was
Like a
liquid.
shower.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
liquid and steam. It was like
Yeah.
spitting, like hot. Like we had to throw a towel over it and wait for it to
Oh,
stop.
okay.
But
But should I
also,
let the pressure release a little bit before doing it?
well, we did let the like you can't open it if the pressure's not released. It's like a safety
Yeah.
locking mechanism.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so that was the spout where the pressure is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to release. But if it's all liquid in there, then I would assume, of course, liquid would come out because there's nothing. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing holding it. There's no like solids in there.
Yeah, but I think if you just keep it close, the ceiling ring there, eventually the pressure will just slowly release and then you won't have to like manually release the pressure.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, just let it naturally release. It takes about 15-20 minutes for it to naturally do it.
Yeah, we didn't have time for that.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
you're in a
lost like
restaurant,
half the
so
stock, so maybe we did have time for it. Oh wow,
yeah.
it was ridiculous. I was like, I don't want an instant pot. That's gonna happen,
No, 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 it's not like that.
but they seem. I mean, I kind of want one now because they're. I mean, it's just an electric pressure cooker. Like,
And you can slow cook in it and you can do like all kinds of stuff in it.
and
It's
yeah, the
it's
fact that it
the
gets that hot, you could saute first and then do it.
yeah,
That's great
yeah,
because then you
yeah,
don't lose any like the fawns or anything. Like,
yeah.
that's great. But
I've been getting ads lately for this new thing, which is apparently a microwave, an air fryer, and a toaster oven. Now, I don't know like how legit it is because it seems like I don't know, one of those ads, but
huh.
it has me curious if it's worth it.
No, actually, you know what? That would make sense. I've seen when I used to fly into Paris all the time, we stayed at this hotel like outside of Paris.
Yeah.
And before it became Crown Plaza and got like super corporatized, it was like a small business. Um,
Hmm.
and every hotel room had its own like kitchenette with like a full range. And they had this microwave that also had like electric heating coils in it,
Oh,
and it had a fan because a microwave has a fan anyway.
yeah.
Um, but so you could broil in it, you could bake in it, and you could microwave.
Cool.
So it's probably a similar contraption, but with like a stronger fan.
Yeah.
Because all the air fryer is really is like a super strong electric convection oven.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
It is pretty good. Like we got one recently. It's convenient, definitely.
my uncle loves it. He makes steaks in it like
Steak, huh?
every
Hmm.
weekend because you can
Yeah.
get the outside really crispy
Yeah.
and like you
I
know
just got it for fries. That's what I
fries.
wanted it for. Yeah. I've been having so much poutine lately because I just never thought of making like poutine at home. And when I first did
Pudding?
it, I'm like, oh, yeah, I never did it until
What kind
like,
of pudding?
oh, sorry, poutine.
Oh, what's
Put
poutine?
Poutine is a Quebecois, like a Montreal thing, Quebec thing in Canada, and it's just fries, cheese curds, and gravy on top. I think in US it's also known as disco fries or gravy fries,
In
I
New
think.
Jersey, it's known as
Yeah,
disco fries, but
there
we
you
do the
go.
mozzarella. We don't do cheese curd.
Okay. Yeah, so
So,
it's not really poutine then. It's the cheese curds that makes it a poutine.
yeah, but what I found though, do disco fries, but you want to instead of regular French fries,
Yeah,
you gotta up your game. You gotta go for the
curly
waffle
fries
fries
or waffle fries.
because then
I
it
I wish I could get that here somewhere. I don't think I could get that here. I don't know where to
you
get
can
it.
make your own.
How will I make waffle fries? I guess I need like a cutter
You just need
that
a
cuts it like
mandolin.
that.
You need a
Yeah.
mandolin with the serrated like the wavy cutter,
Yeah.
and you cut one way and then you cut the other way, and it creates the waffle pattern.
Oh.
And then you got waffle fries.
You have a video on that?
No, I don't have a mandolin either. I should get one. just to
I
do
should get
that.
one too. I don't have one either.
I just I really want a mandolin, but I'm running out of room. I just got a
Same.
dehydrator for Christmas, and it's so big. It's probably about as big as a microwave. Like it's big.
Yeah. The air fryer is that big too. Apparently, the air fryer can dehydrate. So I'm gonna try mangoes at some point. And
But the thing is, like the dehydrator like has multiple levels. Like the air fryer, you probably only get one layer out of it.
I don't know. I guess like
But
there are different like temperature settings on it. So I don't even know how it works. I've never used a dehydrator before. So
I mean,
I don't know.
it's pretty self-explanatory. It takes water and it takes.
Right, but like how long do I do it for? Like, I don't know. How quickly should I do it? Things like
Um,
that.
like it depends on what you're doing, but usually it's around like 180, 200 degrees, and it's like,
Is that Fahrenheit?
oh yeah, Fahrenheit.
Okay. No, I know. I can guess. It's like about 350 C.
Okay, so
180.
then
Yeah.
it depends on what you're doing. It really depends on the thickness too,
Yeah.
because sometimes it could be like 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours. Depends on what you're doing.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
I can't wait to make. I just planted a bunch of. I started a bunch of tomato seeds yesterday, because in the
Hmm.
start of the thing, I'll call myself there.
The
In
thing.
the start of the thing, I started tomatoes because it was the start of summer, and I'm used to gardening in New Jersey,
Nice.
but in Florida, pretty much the only thing like you don't want to do in the summer is plant tomatoes because it's too hot for them. So I had all these giant tomato plants that would not like set any fruit because it was too hot.
Yeah.
So right now, apparently, is the time you want to start growing your tomatoes in Florida. So yesterday, I started a bunch of seeds, and I'm hoping to get like a bunch of cherry tomatoes and make like a bunch of like sun-dried tomatoes, basically, in the dehydrator.
Oh yeah, you're in Florida. It must not snow there, does it?
No, I miss the snow so much. Oh
No,
man,
you don't.
yeah, I do. I
You
do. I
do.
swear. I
I don't like it.
The only
That's
thing I
lucky.
don't miss about snow is the stress of like having to clean your car up and make it to work on time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the commuting that's always the worst with the
Yeah.
snow. Like I like in playing in it or having fun in it as a trip,
Or
but not
using
the
it as an
commute.
excuse not to have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, sorry, it's a blizzard. You can't come. Like they're like snow days for school. Like they don't have them down here. They have like
Yeah. You
I
have like heat
guess
days, maybe
I think they had hurricane days,
hurricane days. Okay. We
but
would have like heat stroke days in Delhi. It would get so hot. They would like close the schools.
oh my god.
Yeah. I remember like playing basketball in the hot sun, and it was like 49 Celsius. I don't know what that's in Fahrenheit, actually. Sorry. So
You
I
gotta
guess it
double
doesn't matter.
it and add 30. That's like almost 130 degrees. That's a lot.
Playing basketball, and I could feel because I have black hair too, right? So it gets hotter than like any other hair color. So,
A lot of my friends, actually, my one friend, Jung, she lives in Korea. I remember we went to culinary school together and she would use like an umbrella so her hair wouldn't get hot.
oh, I guess you'd look silly, but it's smart.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, what are you doing? It's not raining out. It's like, oh, my hair is hot. I was like, what are you talking about?
It's like people who are in the middle of snow with like an umbrella to like avoid their hair from getting spoiled, I guess. Looks very silly.
I mean, that's snow is just
It's
get the
fine.
snow. You gotta get like the hood, the hat. You know what I mean? Like dress
I
in
just get my
layers.
jacket and gloves and boots. That's it.
But
I
you gotta
like
have
my
good
hair.
boots. Like
Yeah.
you gotta get. You don't want to get your feet wet. Like that's important. Like
I don't think the shoes that I've ever had have ever lasted more than 2 years. And I got like the good brands too, like Timberlands and all.
I don't know, no,
And
because they can't deal with the like the salt from the like melting the snow.
Yeah.
It like ruins them. And then
Yeah.
you get the crack in the bottom of your shoe and the water
Exactly.
starts going up. And you're like, oh, and then your foot's wet and freezing, and you're like, can I go home now?
Yeah. I've had that. Mm.
It's the worst. But I've also had like, um, I remember like when Uniqlo first came like to America. Do you know that store Uniqlo?
No.
So I think it's like Asian. I don't know, but they have this gear. It looks like Under Armour,
Okay.
but it instead of like for cooling you off, it's to keep you warm.
Okay.
So I wore that. Because I used to wear like t-shirt, um, like light jacket or fleece, and then coat like over that, like waterproof coat over that, because it
Yeah.
would create like that layer of heat in between like your skin and the coat to keep you warm. So I
I don't
did.
know what that's like.
It's right
I
here.
don't layer. I don't layer. I don't like to feel hot in the winter. Like I just want to be like not sweating. So put just enough layers on so I'm not warm. So I'm like always a bit cold, and I like that because then I will not sweat at all in the hot. If I like go from like a room or like a bus to like the outside,
Oh, but that's why I
and
do the layers because then I could take layers off. If
I
you,
don't want to do that. I just want to like have one layer and just the whole day in that one layer.
you're like, oh well, if I'm cold, too bad.
Too bad.
But yeah, I would wear
Challenging my
this,
body.
and I was sweating so much. Like I didn't think I wore that instead of a t-shirt, and I
Yeah.
started shoveling like the sidewalk and everything, and
Yeah.
like 10 minutes into it, I was like, I have to take like all my layers off.
See,
It was so
that's
hot.
why.
I was like, this is some technology right here. Like,
I'd rather be cold than sweating.
but it's like when you're gonna be out there for hours, like the
Yeah.
cold's gonna come through you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I haven't had to do that. So I guess,
Oh, it's because you're in an apartment now. Like I was shoveling
yeah.
like my mom's house. I got to do the
Yeah.
driveway, the walkway, the walkway,
Yeah.
like the sidewalk, the whole sidewalk.
Yeah.
Like
I do that when I go to my uncle's with my one layer on. Just have a big jacket and gloves
and
and a
gloves.
hat sometimes if I'm like out for
Yeah,
that long and I put a hat on.
and the gloves are important because you gotta.
Yeah.
As long as you get your hands wet, it's cold. You just don't want to get wet. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss it. So, see, there.
You'll come here and you'll have like 10 days in the snow and then you'll be sick of it. And you go back home to Florida.
Well, that's what I loved about flying was like I would go to Norway a lot and like Sweden
Yeah.
and Denmark. That's cold, man. Like, especially Denmark, like Copenhagen,
Yeah.
like all the water, like it's right on the ocean. So like the wind whipping off the ocean and just like all snow and like no daylight. Like it's just like freezing. It was freezing. So like you really had to bundle up. But I had these old ladies on one of my flights, like they were just like they didn't really speak English that well. They were just speaking like
Hmm.
Norwegian, and they were like, "Oh, you're from Florida. You don't know anything about winter." I was like, "Oh, I know. It's like I'm not really from Florida." Like, and then the one lady was like, I was talking to one of the ladies, and the other lady didn't like seem like she knew English that well, and all of
Okay.
a sudden she just goes, "There's no, there's no bad weather, only bad clothes." It's like
I
the
like that.
line. I was like, this is the best line. I remember that for the rest of my life.
Funny. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's awesome. But those Norwegians are tough for the winters there too.
Did you get to like stay in those places you flew to when you were doing your job, or
Yeah,
did you have to like
sometimes.
go back the same day or something?
We never went back the same day because
Okay.
like with the laws, it just wasn't allowed
Okay.
because you work like a flight from Florida to like Copenhagen or whatever is like 10 hours.
Hmm.
So like there's not enough time to get you back over the ocean where you would like time out for fatigue.
Yeah.
You'd be halfway across the ocean and then be like, oh, we can't work anymore. So like they can't
Yeah.
that way.
Okay.
But you would be but sometimes the layovers would be like really short. They would be like 15 hours or something. So
Hmm.
you only had time to like sleep, wake up, eat, and get back on the plane for the most part. But you would get lucky sometimes and have like 2 days, sometimes 3 days in a place.
Yeah.
But we would usually get stuck in Norway for three. Like the longest layovers would be in Norway, and it sucked because Norway is so expensive compared to
Hmm.
America. And our hotel was by the airport, like in the middle of the forest. Like
In forest.
yeah, it was like all pine trees. Like you would
Yeah.
go on a nice nature walk, like we did a lot, but it's just like, come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You've seen it like in the morning or whatever. That
Like the
can't do
closest
that for two
restaurant
days.
was like
Yeah.
a McDonald's, and a Big Mac was $30.
And you had to pay for that too?
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
did
you would get
they?
a free. The company would pay for breakfast, and
Hmm.
the breakfast in the hotel we originally stayed at was like worth it. Like it was so good, amazing. It was like it was so good. It was like just like Norwegian salmon. Like it was
Oh,
it was everything you could think of. Like oh my god, they had like the
see,
and
I
the
have to explore these different cuisines. I don't even know like what all is there and all these. Is that how you like got into cooking and all and
no, but the
baking?
reason I became a flight attendant was because I was like working in the kitchen, you get burnt out. You
Hmm.
realize you're never going to make enough money to open your own restaurant. Like you're not going to find an angel investor, you know? So
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be Anthony Bourdain. So I was like, how do I do this without like needing a TV show or like a book deal? I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to be a flight attendant. And I just got
Yeah.
lucky that the company I worked for was international. Because usually you have
Hmm.
to be a flight attendant at like if you're going to be a legacy carrier like Air Canada or United or American or something. You have to
Yeah.
work there for like 20 years before you can go,
20 years.
unless somebody like who's that senior calls out
Yeah.
like at last minute and you get put in that
Yeah.
spot because that person called out.
Oh.
Like that's the only way you're gonna get to go anywhere besides like Kansas or Lincoln, Nebraska, like you know.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
To say something I forgot. It's okay. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got lucky that it was just all international stuff. It was nice. So I went to Norway, all over Scandinavia. Um, I got to go to Italy a couple times. I
Hmm.
got to go to France a lot. Um, Barcelona. I love Barcelona.
Oh, that's so good. You got to travel so much before all this thing happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. That's a good way to like see the world.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad I did it
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah, I remember what I wanted to say. The burnouts, that's real. In the kitchen, like I felt the same thing. Like when I first started working at the restaurant, I was like, hey, this is really cool. Like I love cooking and I can like cook and maybe make like open my own restaurant and stuff like that. But then when I feel like when you're at a restaurant, you're not cooking for yourself anymore, like for the fun of it. You're doing like the same dish like again and again and again. The consistency is what matters at a restaurant. And when you're not like the top guy who's creating the
the menu.
recipes,
Yeah,
yeah, the menu, like you're
you're
just
a robot.
there, yeah, you're a robot just outputting food,
And like
same every time.
Yeah, and it's good when like the menu changes, like if you can learn a few different techniques.
Yeah.
But
But that's
like,
so far and few based on like where you're working, what kind of restaurant it is,
yeah, you have to
right?
like figure, like you have to, like my resume, I remember when I got hired um in as a teacher, they were asking me like why I only worked at places for a year or 6 months, you know what I mean? And I'm
Mm.
like, I learned
Yeah.
everything, I had to move on, pretty much
Yeah.
is my answer.
Yeah.
Is it was like, you know, the people are great and stuff like that, but if you're only going to pay me, like when I started my first job, like they pay you like 12, $13 an hour, you know,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
less, $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Like, how am I
And
supposed
there's
to live?
like tips or whatever.
There's
So,
no tips. There's no tips in the back of
okay.
the house in
Oh,
America.
we got some tips at Joey, like
Yeah, if they
small
do like
portion
a
of
pool
it.
of it, yeah.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
most part, the front of the house keeps all the tips.
And like career progression wise, I felt like when I was working, the only way you can move up is if somebody who's already up goes to another location or is fired.
Exactly.
And you just feel like you'll be stuck here, not being moved up because there's no position. And it's not because you don't have the skills, it's
Ex-
because
Or you're not good enough.
it's
It's just that,
something you can't even control.
yeah. And
And
think of that too. Like every restaurant needs a chef and a sous chef, but not every restaurant needs a pastry chef. So those jobs are even like few and
mm,
far between when it comes to like finding a
mm,
place that actually has a pastry department. Like,
yeah,
no, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, yeah,
Mm.
that's another reason why I was like, eh.
So like that turned me off, and I'm like, I think that was another reason why I wanted to like start the YouTube channel and all, because then I could like cook for myself and like cook what I wanted to make and just have fun with it rather than turn it into a job, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I mean,
yeah,
I definitely want to turn this into my job for sure.
yeah.
But I like to,
It's different though, right? Like you have autonomy,
yeah,
I mean, you're doing it. Yeah.
yeah. And you get to like, I mean, right now I'm working at the other place, so I don't, I feel like I wish I could, you know, I really wish I could get monetized faster just because I would love to be able to dedicate all of my time.
Mm,
Um, all of, and but also have the funds to do the research and like test recipes before I put a video out. A lot of my
yeah,
videos are tired and true stuff that I already know.
yeah,
But like if I wanted to do a video on naan, for instance, like I would
yeah,
watch your video, but I'm not just gonna do your recipe. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I
yeah.
want to watch, you know, I want to go and watch like 100 videos, read the
And
book.
then try it like 200 times, right? Yeah,
Exactly. And figure out, oh, well, this is what I like. And then like apply my own knowledge of like,
yeah,
you know, yeast and sourdough or, you know, French bread, like all the stuff and say, hey, if I can take this technique from this part of the world and put it here, can I make a better product? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just things
yeah,
like that. But I don't have the funds to do that because I'm not getting
yeah,
paid to make these videos yet. And I don't have
yeah.
the,
Same.
yeah, and I don't have the time because you know, I got to work at least part time to get, you know,
Yeah.
and then this thing, you know, gotta find some work. So,
Is that what affected like your flight attendant position, the thing?
yeah, I don't have,
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
it was literally like within like 2 or 3 days. I actually, we started cooking classes again in November.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I haven't
Wow.
flown since March.
Mm,
So, but in March,
that's hard.
I came back from Thailand. That's another amazing place. Um, I came back from Thailand and I was supposed to teach like the morning after, maybe like the day after I got back or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't feel good. Like nothing was shut down yet here. And I was like, listen,
Yeah,
I don't want to come in because I don't know if I don't feel good because I might have this thing or
yeah,
or what. But you know, we're in Florida. A lot of clientele. They're older, they're in that
Yeah.
risk category. I was like, I don't like
Hmm.
I feel like it's my duty as a person not to, learning how to be a person. Like I feel like it's my responsibility as a person to not put other people at risk
Yeah.
and do that. So I called out, and then like a week or a couple days later, not even a week, they shut down, the store because
Mm.
of everything. But I was like,
Jeez.
it's a long time. So I started doing this stuff. But then at the same
Yeah.
time, like I didn't have the money to research anything. I was just doing
Yeah.
whatever I could. And I was just trying to
Yeah.
do things to stay sane, but also like, I know how to cook. So that's one thing I can share with people that are also going through a hard time, just like me,
Hmm.
because I don't have the money
Yeah.
for groceries. I'm still on food stamps, you know,
Hmm.
and I think, during part of the pandemic, I had, when I first went on the benefits or whatever, giving me $192 a month, um,
That's
which is,
hard.
which is
Yeah.
not a lot of money if you don't cook.
Yeah.
But I can make that work for a month
Yeah.
because I cook. Um,
Must be lots of vegetarian like stuff like beans and all, right?
a lot of eggs,
But I,
a lot of eggs. But also if you don't, I mean, of course, like that wasn't I would have to use like my unemployment benefits for food too, because
hmm
that's in Florida, it's only $275 a week. Where in like other states, like New Jersey, it's $500 a week. So once that
is the
federal,
cost of living different in Florida? Is it more expensive than the other parts of the states?
um, honestly, like the rent is lower in Florida, but when it comes to like food cost, I noticed that it's the same, if not higher, than
Hmm.
other places in the country. Like I'm
Hmm.
comparing it to New Jersey because that's just where I'm from, and
Yeah.
like like I know people there, so I know I can ask them how much is that or whatever. But it's like it's not. They're also they're getting paid in a different state. In New Jersey, it was like $500 a month, and that's just on the state. And then for a
Mm.
little while, the federal government was giving an additional, I think it was like $300 a week or something for
Okay.
every state. So then, like, we were okay. But once that went away, it's like, oh, fuck, And then,
Mm.
like, luckily, my boyfriend is still working, but we kind of reverse roles because he's studying to get his license,
Yeah.
so he doesn't get paid as much as like a mechanic does. So it's just like
Hmm.
once I was making all the money flying and working this second job just so he could stay home and study and get his license.
Yeah.
And now it's like we're in the final
The other
stretch of
way.
that, and he's got to, he's still got to get his license, but he's also got to make all the
Mm.
money. So
Yeah. Hope he gets it soon.
yeah, he will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a couple more tests to take, but he'll get it.
Okay.
But it's just like the government's dropping the ball pretty much. But we'll see. But I don't know, 2 more weeks. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Jeez. I don't know how you went through all that. I was one of the few that whose jobs weren't affected being in software, but just like reading like stories like these, like that's very strong that you could like, be sane and
I mean, I
kind of
have to
like,
cook. I
yeah,
wouldn't have been
yeah.
sane if I didn't cook. And like the gardening is like so therapeutic. I didn't even
Mm.
think about it because not only did it, I mean, where I live, like if you walk out my patio, it's a parking lot. So it's like noisy and it's people yelling at
Yeah.
each other. It's, people trying to go do their laundry, all that other stuff. But I created like this patio garden, and it's like I could just sit there and collect my
In
food.
Zen.
It's amazing. and like just putting like seeds in, like, just doing something like that where it's just like, I'm gonna put 3 seeds in each little thing. Like it's just so like, oh
Therapeutic.
yeah, it's better than I just deleted I used to play this game Toon Blast all the time on my phone. It's kind of like
Okay.
similar to like Candy Crush or something like that. But I
Okay.
realized like I play it when I get like anxious or like fidgety or whatever. I
Yeah.
think it probably just makes me more anxious.
That's how they get you hooked.
Yeah. So I mean, I got really good at it. Like which is not some. I'm bragging, but I shouldn't be bragging, I guess, because I was like, when I first started playing it, like I would play it in the crew rest in the airplane when I couldn't sleep, which probably
Yeah.
is a bad idea because all the bright colors and stuff like probably make you not sleep even more,
Yeah.
But it was one of the few games that you could play while your phone was in airplane mode. So
Cool.
so I got really good at it, and like at one point I was like second in the world.
Wow. That's impressive. That's worth bragging for.
But yeah, but I'm like, what did you get from that? Nothing. Nothing. You could have like learned.
Personal accomplishment.
You could have like read a book or something. You could. So then
You could have listened to the book while playing.
I did that for a little bit. I listened
Yeah.
to David Sinclair's book about,
Yeah.
and that I like. I don't know. I guess like as a hobby, I like to learn about
Okay.
like genetics and like it's just science in general. Like
Yeah. No, I like nonfiction like that too. Like I stopped reading ever since I stopped commuting to work. Um, because I would like just like play it on my phone or whatever and listen to the book or but I just don't do it at home anymore. I was using like I think it's called Homo sapiens. Um, and it was just like about like our civilization and how we came to the present day from like cavemen and how society works, how money works and things like that, how different religions work and how we ended up with these like 4 or 5 like major religions of the world. Like it was pretty interesting to like see like what we came from and where we are, how we came to where we are right now. I have to finish that book because I stopped reading the moment it all happened. So
what part did you get to?
I have like 6 chapters left. I think that's like about 26, 28 chapters in the book. So I'm towards the end of it now.
Right. Well, like what part of humanity are you at?
Oh, I'm at the end of the religion chapter, I think.
That's probably interesting about
It is, yeah.
to me, I think of religion as, especially when it comes to humanity, as a way to like kind of tame the beasts and like control the masses more than and like
Yeah, that's what the book talks about, basically.
yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Um, it also talks about how different sects of people were like kind of forced to follow the religion of the majority of the population that were occupying the land. So all these tiny, small beliefs and religions were either people were either killed off or they were fused and forced into believing the popular religion in the region. And then as the population became bigger and bigger and bigger, those religions became more prominent and the smaller ones just are lost. Like we don't have no scripts of it. There's no knowledge of it because it was all destroyed or lost over time. It's pretty cool.
That's
In
cool.
all kinds of religions, like all of the major ones, like pretty cool.
Yeah,
I want to read it now.
I want to read it too. You sold me.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, you should get it. There's also like a second part to it. It's called Homo Deus, Deux. And it's about like where would we get 50 or 100 years from now? So the future of humanity. So I don't know what it's gonna be, but I want to really get to that book soon.
I don't know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be hopefully we'll meet the aliens before then. Oh man. Oh.
Yeah.
Like now would be a good time for them to show up, I think.
It was just a prank.
Yeah. Like that would be a good time. Like, oh. But they're probably if there are like the aliens are definitely like looking at us like what are these monkeys doing over here?
It's funny. Thinking about aliens. Um, do you know Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Yeah.
the popular astrophysicist? Yeah. So he has this. I used to like listen to his podcast called Star Talk, and he mentions in that the difference in the DNA, I think, of between chimps and humans is about 1 or 2%. But that's what makes us different. That's what makes us able to like create art and do math and reach Mars and stuff like that. Now imagine a species that's 1 or 2% more advanced than us. Their kids will be like drawing Picasso quality paintings on the fridge. Hey, look, mommy, I discovered relativity in my class today. And just imagine like what that progression would be like. And that's scary.
Well, also like what if another like they always talk about like how dolphins like
Hmm.
are probably the same level of intelligence of humans, but we just like don't understand them. So we think they're dumber than us, but they're just like the humans of the water. Like what happens when they evolve like 1%?
I don't think we let them.
I don't think we'll let them. We'll probably eat them before that.
Yeah.
Oh god. Maybe it'd be cool though. Maybe then we'll have
Yeah.
the real like mer people, like, that would be
Mm. Yeah. Fusion.
Aquaman's coming.
Fusion confusion.
Well, I mean, I remember one of the things that got me into like paying attention to science and genetics like later in my life was that science teacher I told you about,
Hmm.
Miss Stark. She we had to every week we had to bring in an article in science of like something new and like present it to the class. So in one of my other classes, world history, the teacher was really which was actually, now that I think about it, is probably another great lesson I learned from another great teacher. I just had really good teachers. Um, he's actually the principal of the school now, but
Nice.
he would do a similar thing with like world news, and he would make sure we had to get our information from a news source that wasn't American. So it
Mm.
had to be about America, but through the eyes of a different country. So
Interesting.
that's when I started like looking at BBC News because that was like the internet was not what it is right now.
Yeah.
So, like pretty much like I think like Al Jazeera and BBC and there may be like two or three more places you could go. But the BBC had this article about scientists taking the DNA from a jellyfish and putting it into a pig and then taking like the pig organs and putting them into humans, like heart replacements and stuff.
Yeah.
And because they had put the jellyfish DNA into the pig heart or whatever, the the organ when it was put under like a black light or some kind of light would glow in the dark so they could see if there was a problem with it or not.
And they put that in a human?
Yeah. And I was like, this is so cool. So like ever since
Wow.
then, like and I think she worked a little bit on the Human Genome Project and stuff.
Hmm.
Even though she was teaching like basic biology and like stuff like that, she would always kind of bring that into there. And it was just like, that's so cool. And she would teach like forensic science was cool. I got to teach
Forensic.
that.
That has always like gotten me curious. Like how they like use chromatography to like solve crimes and all.
It was
Like
cool,
that's
but it was
yeah.
also interesting at how unreliable it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things we learned in the class was
Yeah.
like, this is how you take a fingerprint. Isn't this really hard? How reliable can this really be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Good
or
stuff.
like bite marks, you know, like that's not really reliable either. Like, because certain things tear differently, so it's not going to leave the
Hmm.
correct impression, you know. But they just got that from like, oh well, everyone has like a unique like teeth pattern, so like you
Yeah.
can identify someone by their teeth, but not by their bite mark. Like there's a difference.
Interesting.
So,
I've not heard of that. That's pretty cool. What kind of crime would that be?
well, like sometimes if you're in like a struggle with someone, like someone will try
Okay, I
to
guess.
you or
I guess you're right. Yeah.
but that's where DNA
Yeah.
comes in, how good DNA,
Yeah.
you know, um, which is cool because we got to learn a lot about DNA. uh, and we got to learn a lot about like hair follicles, like looking.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like, um, and that's like during the thing, to, like to save money, and actually like before the pandemic too, to save money, I wanted to figure out how to dye my own hair, and because I took forensics, like figured it out because when you dye your hair, like your hair color is not like on the outside of your hair, like your hair strand
Yeah.
like a tube, like a clear tube with like your hair color right in the middle of it. So like when you
Okay.
dye your hair, you're dyeing that clear tube. You're not dyeing your actual like hair color unless you bleach it first to get to the center of that tube and strip the color
Mm.
out of it. So like but bleaching, because you're getting all the way to the center of the tube, you're
Yeah.
damaging your hair.
Yeah.
So like I was like, instead of doing that, I'm just gonna throw the lightest dye I can on top of my hair color because my hair color is it's not like jet black like yours. Like to change your hair
Mm.
color, you would have to like bleach it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But mine, I get away with it. So I just did like the lightest hair color, and then I was like, this is so cool because I figured it out because of forensic science class.
That's cool.
But if you looked at my hair color under a microscope, you could be like, "Oh, this bitch dyes her hair. She's not real blonde anymore."
You can always tell the real hair color by looking at the eyebrows.
But that was my problem because that's why I dye my hair lighter. I mean, I have some like
Yeah.
eyebrow stuff on it now. My
Yeah.
eyebrows are so light compared to my hair
Oh.
that
Wow.
if I don't dye my hair lighter and my hair stays dark, I look like the Mona Lisa. Like it looks like I don't have eyebrows. So, so
I didn't know that.
that's why I
I
do
thought
it.
like it always is like same as your hair color. I guess it's not.
It's not. It's a little different.
Mm. Mm.
At least when I mean, I guess once you get darker, like brown hair, then it is. But
Mm.
also my brother is he's got a lot of red in his hair, not in his eyebrow,
Okay.
because
Oh.
my mom has red hair, so we get like all the colors mixed in. Because you get like super obsessive, and then like my dad had brown hair, so it's
Yeah.
like sometimes I'll find a red hair. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like in the light, sometimes your hair looks kind of reddish on
Yeah,
your left side
like
there. Yeah.
most of it is really red.
Right there. Yeah.
Also, because I just got to get better at dyeing my hair because I'm not a master at it yet.
I started cutting my hair once the thing started. Like right now, it's like very long because it grows really fast. It's annoying. But I haven't cut my hair at a barber since March. And
Well,
I've saved like what, $300 by now? $300, maybe more, by just like not doing that. And like I learned it and I figured it out and it's not bad. Like right now, like it's pretty long. I cut it like do like a fade and this is not related to cooking at all.
I mean, it's all right.
But yeah, yeah,
It's the
it's
lifestyle.
yeah, the thing lifestyle.
But No, it looks pretty good. I feel like once you know how to do a fade, like you're good. Do you have to do
Yeah.
your eyebrows or no? Or are you just lucky you don't have a unibrow?
No, I don't do anything on my eyebrows. Like I've been told to like do them by my sister to like kind of like clean up the edges. She said like my eyes will pop out if I do that, but I don't want to risk like kind of getting ruining my eyebrows, and I don't know how to do it either.
I mean, you're not
So
gonna. They look fine. You don't need to do it.
yeah,
You're a guy. You kind of want to be
yeah,
rough around the edges a little bit, you know?
and yeah, that's what I told her. Like, why would I need to do it? Like, nobody's like looking at my eyebrows and like judging me.
Yeah. Like,
Like, it's
as long as you
unfortunate,
know
but
that.
like women have that, and people do that, and it's unfortunate that they have to go through that. But
Yeah.
I don't have to go through that.
Well, I mean, I feel like if you're a guy, as long as you don't have a unibrow, like you're good.
Yeah.
Like I
I have
know
a
some
really
guys.
light one, which just like trim off.
Yeah.
It's
They
like
take the
super
trim
light.
like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, but yeah, then you save so much money because that's even more money. Like going to get your eyebrows
Yeah.
done and like,
Oh no, I wouldn't have gone anywhere to do that then. I would have done it myself if I had to do it. If I can do something myself, I just do it.
a lot of
I
my
don't
friends
like,
do like the threading too. That's
yeah, that's what she was saying.
I tried to do that myself and I like I fucked my shit up, man. I was like bleeding.
Exactly. I don't want to risk it. I have a good thing going.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was not, I'm never gonna try that again. With threading my own eyebrows.
Did
That
you like
was
lose a bit of it?
I tried it like right here. So I was like, this seems
Yeah.
like the easiest angle. And I was just like, it was like a scab for like a week. I was like, how who knew thread could be so sharp? I was like, what?
It's like a paper cut, I guess, almost.
That's
Maybe.
exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Never again.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like when you have super light eyebrows too, you have to do them, or they kind of like, because it's basically like a clear hair, so it reflects all the
Hmm.
light and it looks like you don't have any eyebrows. So
Yeah.
if you do them, then you can see them. But if it's just like a
Hmm.
bunch of like random shit over here, like you don't see it. Happens a lot with like Asian people too. I notice like
Okay.
you'll see the eyebrow really good here, but then it kind of like fans out.
Fades off.
And if you do it, then it actually like frames your face better. See, I'm learning so many different things on this podcast.
I'm gonna do my eyebrows right now after the call.
Right? Your sister will be so proud.
Oh
Oh my god, it's 9:26.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's been like 3 hours, I guess.
I'm gonna have to go. I have to go teach class tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead. I have
everyone.
some Starbucks getting cold here.
I don't know if you should drink coffee right
I just drink it for the flavor. I like the taste of it. I
now.
don't drink it like on a daily basis.
I drink it on it. It's like
Mhm.
it's a requirement.
I just like mocha. I like mocha all the time.
Have you made your own mocha yet? Like mocha coffee?
I have made it for myself. It's not a recipe yet because I just keep making it until I perfect it. And it takes a long time for me to like be happy with the recipe. So when it's ready, and I'll put it out.
Are you doing like an espresso or are you doing coffee?
Coffee, espresso. Eh?
Trying to espresso.
Okay, okay,
Do
okay.
you like espresso? Like or
Like dark? No, not really.
no
But if
no
it's
no.
chocolate, it'll be fine.
Hold on.
Okay.
No, like espresso, like an espresso like shot of espresso compared to like coffee, which is like coffee is like ground different.
Yeah,
Like I mean it's roasted different as well, but it's more water.
I don't know the difference. I'm not a coffee connoisseur. Like I think I like espresso more because I guess it'll be a more richer flavor. Um,
Also like you're
but
not I feel like coffee is super American, you know,
yeah,
like
is espresso. What is espresso?
espresso is like made. in like an espresso machine. So it's like the coffee's made very fast, like
Yeah.
express, you know. So
No, but like, what are the origins of it? Is it American espresso or is it from somewhere else?
I mean, I feel like people will fight over that answer. Probably the most famous.
Let them fight.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say Italy, even though I'm
That's
sure.
what I was guessing from the name of it. That's what it shouts. Italian.
But like,
But
you know, the Chinese get mad when you say pasta's Italian, so I'm sure sure someone's offended. But you find it, you know, everywhere in Europe. I'm I'm gonna say Italy right now, but
mhm.
I'm sure someone will prove me wrong. But because there's so many different forms, you know, you have your Turkish coffee, you have which is like it's like pretty much espresso, but all the grinds are like in the bottom. So
Okay.
like sip it really slow so you don't like just get a mouthful of coffee grinds. Uh, there's so
Yeah,
much
I don't like that.
to learn about coffee. Like, I mean, my boyfriend worked for Starbucks for like 8 years, so I learned a lot
Yeah.
from him. But even before that, like, there's just like coffee and tea. I'm sure you know probably a lot about tea because there's a lot of tea in Indian culture now.
My parents didn't allow me to have tea at all. Like I never had tea until I got here, I guess. So
Really?
like maybe a few sips here and there, but didn't allow me to have any caffeine from tea. I had a Coke and all or Pepsi, but never any tea or coffee.
But what
So
about like you know, like teas that are not they're not actually tea, but they're like served like tea. Like, you know, they're like they call them caffeine free teas, but they're not from the tea leaf. They're like hibiscus
mm.
or peppermint tea or you know what I mean?
Our parents were not that fancy. We just had regular tea and that's it.
That's it.
That's
That's funny.
it.
I grew up with like tea because my mom is Scottish and Irish, so we would
Yeah,
like tea. Like I would go to tea with her a lot.
tea parties.
Tea parties.
But like, yeah, I started having like all kinds of like green teas when I got here, and regular tea is fine. I guess you need like to put like some spices to like kind of make it like more flavorful. Like and like Indian tea, which I learned about later after I left India, was with like cinnamon and cardamom and lots of sugar. Always it's a sweet tea, which is popular in India and made with whole milk. It's pretty good. That's tasty. It's a good drink. I would have it as a drink because I don't like, I never got into the habit of having like a caffeine beverage in the morning after I wake up. So it's like nice, I don't know, like a dessert or snack or something like that. That's what I have it like.
I mean, I like tea for nighttime. I don't
Yeah.
drink it with milk anymore, though. When I was a kid, I used to drink it with milk like that,
Yeah.
but not
Maybe
anymore.
like milk powder could be something you can use.
Well,
Um,
a lot of people use like lemon and honey and stuff like now.
yeah. Yeah.
I just drink it straight up and dip my cookies in it. That's what makes it sweet.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good. No, I can't have like dark coffee, dark tea. I need the sweet in
That's sweet.
there,
Yeah, that's
creaminess.
some biscotti with
Ooh,
coffee. That's the best.
biscottis are great. I grew up with biscottis. So I grew up with biscottis and not teas. Think about that.
And no coffee?
Maybe like an iced coffee for a treat,
What
like
did you
here
dip
and
the
there.
biscotti in?
I just had it with milk, I
It's like
guess. I don't know.
breaking
I
your.
love biscottis.
Oh, no wonder you got such strong teeth. You had to develop them for them. Oh, man.
True.
That's so funny. Alrighty. Well, I gotta go for real now because it's so late.
All right.
But
Okay.
nice talking to you. Everybody go subscribe to Cooking with Anadi. That's the
Let's
right.
do it.
That's the
Yeah.
right channel. Okay. I'm gonna put all the links in the description and probably bother you again about more stuff later.
All
But
right.
nice talking to you.
Yeah, you as well.